What's up, folks? Welcome back to the stream. It's Friday? We're getting fractional, I guess. I did not expect to be live streaming quite as much as I have this week, but it's been like the most insane week for frickin' spoilers. That in recent memory, I guess, like since the edition came out, really. We got the new Tau stuff. We got to talk about all that. We got the obviously new data from the data slate, and then now we're talking about Chaos Space Marines. So the Chaos Space Marine Codex dropped in, I think, what is largely its entirety. We might be down a couple data sheets. I haven't had a chance to go through all of the pages quite yet, but it is out and about, oot and aboot, the Chaos Space Marine Codex. I guess it is today, and that's what we're going to be going through today, and that's what we're going to be talking about. And I think so far it seems like the first impressions are that this codex might be insane. Although, to be fair, always the classic what's the word? Caveats that we don't have points values for it yet. So it might be that things have gone up, but I have no idea. I'm going to open myself up a copy of the current index so that we can compare, and then we're just going to frickin' dive right into this thing. Let's go. Good morning, everybody. How's it going? Hopefully you're foaming at the mouth Friday, the freaking out Friday. There are links in the Discord server. If you're over in the Discord, they're floating around in there for sure. All right, so I think what we're gonna do, we'll talk about some army rules, and I think what we're gonna do is run through the data sheets real quickly and see if we can identify any changes, because I know there are a couple new abilities, and that's gonna give us some good context to talk about the army rules. I believe that the only change here is that the unit suffers Dark Pact damage immediately upon failing a Dark Pact. So previously you would get the bonuses, take the Dark Pact check, and if you failed it at the end of your attack step, I think you would take the damage, if I remember correctly. Now you take it immediately, so it's a slight nerf in that you could lose models before they get to attack you, using the Dark Pact bonuses, which is not the biggest deal in the world, but it is a change. I'm going to flip through the detachments here. We'll talk about the detachments momentarily.
Chevy streaming 3 days in a row.
Yeah, it's a crazy time, chat. It's one of those days, you know. Absolutely incredible. Hoping we get an updated Codex roadmap. Yeah, getting to know what the last Codex on the list is would be nice. As well as some of the other ones, right? Like I was just making a video talking about some of the other factions in there, and man, 40k has like 30 factions, and it's just gonna take a while to get through them all. Wow, we have a lot of data sheets in this book, chat. This is like mostly, or excuse me, detachments. This is like mostly detachments. Now we saw Abaddon's entry spoiled previously. He now only generates command points if you roll a 7 or higher on his Dark Pact check, so he'd get a little bit less powerful. But otherwise, he grants everybody a 4+ invulnerable save, excluding damned units, which I want to say I'm gonna get a couple versions of these out. I don't know what the damned units are, so I'm going to very quickly scroll through. I feel like it sounds like those would be cultists. If I can find the cultist entry, Jesus Christ. Unless somebody in chat can confirm. Oh, we can join Chosen now. Well, that's exciting. It's a much better delivery system for him than the old Terminators. They're too slow. Chaos Bikers have remained in the Codex, which is interesting. Yeah, so cultist-style units have the damned keywords. So, like, Beastmen do. Traitor Guardsmen do. So he doesn't affect the little guys anymore. So the cultist spam list, where you would take, like, 60 cultists and just like mob the middle of the board with a 4+ invulnerable save, that's dead. We can no longer do that. So that is, unironically, a nerf to Abaddon. 2 different ways. They got him coming and going. He's worse at generating command points, and he is worse at protecting your infantry, as long as they're your little crappy infantry. But joining the chosen units, assuming that they still have the ability to advance and charge, is a big deal. Harken World Claimer, looks like he's the same. Yeah, roll 1d6 for each model in his unit that is within engagement range. He always had the engagement range version of that rule, right? He didn't have the Blood Crusher version where he had the enhanced impact attack, which to be honest, oh no, he did. Yeah, so he also got nerfed. That's unfortunate. That version of the ability is really shitty, and it makes me mad that they would get rid of it, because I think it's just so much worse. So previously, you selected one enemy unit in engagement range of his unit. You rolled 1d6 for each model in his unit on a 4 place to take a mortal wound. Now you roll 1d6 for each model that is within engagement range of the target enemy unit. So you can only do it if you have actually impacted with those individual models, which like thematically makes more sense, but as a game mechanic is like so much worse. And I don't know, it just makes me it's kind of annoying, I guess. Like, the fact that it targets one enemy unit and then inflicts mortal wounds only based on proximity to that. If you are dealing damage to the units you're engaging, you should be able to target on a per model basis. It shouldn't be one for the whole unit. That doesn't make any sense, but it is what it is. I'm mostly just sad because Blood Crushers and other stuff are going to lose that effect. Cultist Man was killed by the Noctilus Crown nerf. Well, Abaddon used to... am I wrong that he used to give the invuln save to the cultists? I'll just pull up his old datasheet here. Oh, I can't find it. Oh, fuck. That's because I spelled it wrong. Yeah, he used to just give it to all infantry models, so I don't know. The damned unit. That damned unit right there. Alright, I have no idea what Vashtor the Archifane used to do, because I know he was always really trash, and I don't think he's really changed. You get +1 strength to demon engines within 6 inches. You can make enemies units hazardous. He used to half move characteristic and -1 attack, so he actually got worse somehow. And his weapon is the same. Oh, his weapon went up to strength 14 from strength 9. Wow, he used to be strength 9 AP 1. That makes a lot more sense. This dude is massive. I don't understand why they would make him so weak. I'm too weak. But he's also just got like a 14 with Demon Prince profile, which is not too bad. So I guess he's side graded. His debuff ability is like dramatically worse. It affects all enemy units, not just vehicles, but it's only when they target him. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of whatever. But at least he's better at heading, so that's something, I guess. Thanks Vashtor. Cypher, still in here. He can CP text people within 12 inches. It's not very good. I mean, I guess maybe it's good, but you got to get your lone operative within 12 inches of people. This feels like the... yeah, I guess he is very much like the Sly Marbo problem, where he's like a lone operative that does a bunch of reactive effects when people are nearby him, but in order for people to be nearby him, they can shoot him, so it's like, what if they just shoot him? I mean, his reactive fire ability is pretty cool, because he can do it against attacks targeting himself, and he is unironically really good at shooting. His guns are awkwardly not pistols, though. Oh, no, they are. Just kidding. I was looking at his melee profile. And he's not the easiest thing to kill, right? So he's a 4+ invulnerable save with 5 wounds. So, like, occasionally you'll shoot at him and not kill him, and he'll get to plink you. But without a Vect effect, especially because this still only works on battle tactics, because it's a CP tax, it doesn't cost your opponent a CP, it increases the cost of the stratagem, so it can only be used on battle tactics. So he really needs very specific circumstances for that ability to work. So otherwise he's just a lone operative guy. But if he's like a 70, 75 point lone operative guy, I think he's really good. If he's whatever 90 or whatever he is right now, I don't know, not quite as exciting without the tax in there. Fashtor did not get the vehicle keyword despite his whole detachment strats using vehicle. I mean, I guess that does sort of make sense, right? He's like a big demon. He's a monster. That would be cool synergy, and I wish that they would pay more attention to their keywords for that. But maybe they didn't want Fashtor to be like hitting too hard. He would also be able to tank shock, I guess, if he was a vehicle. So it's kind of a little annoying. He looks too cool to suck. He does have a really weird model. I love his model. It's so chaosy. Fabulous Bill. He's got +1 strength and toughness to bodyguard models in the unit. That's what he used to do. He can change damage characteristics to 0 once per turn when an attack is allocated to a model in the unit. Makes him super hard to kill. And what can he attach to? A Cursed Cultist, Chosen, Cultist, Legionaries. Probably putting him in Chosen, to be fair. He also, on a 2+ returns with its full wounds remaining. Yeah, so he's exactly the same, it looks like. I don't think he's changed at all. The regular old Chaos Lord. He's got a Rites of Battle. He's got a shiny new mini. Once we're battle at the start of the fight phase, you can improve the attack strength, armor penetration, and damage characteristics of his attacks by 1, which I believe is his previous ability as well. It sure is. Strength, attacks, armor penetration, and damage. They just changed the order of the abilities, which is exciting. Good old Chaos Lord. What a Chad. There's the Terminator guy. The Jump Pack guy gets his 6-inch pile and consolidate. This guy is new, I believe, right? Because he was not in the index. Yeah, they only had the Terminator armor guy. 6-inch piling and consolidate is okay. The problem is that he only attaches into Raptors. He doesn't attach into Warp Talons. So, like, I mean, it doesn't really matter what he attaches into, because whatever he's jumping into is going to be OC1. So, the situation in which this is good is when you are moving in to steal objectives, because you can charge an enemy unit and either wrap them around with the pile-in and consolidate moves, or you can kill them and then consolidate super far to take objectives. And when you're OC1, it's not quite as exciting. You could take them with like a big unit of Raptors, but having not seen the Raptors yet, I don't know if that's actually going to do any damage. And I feel like if you want the big unit of Raptors, you want Harkin World Claimer to do mortal wounds on the charge. So, like, I don't know. This guy feels like maybe a little bit of a miss, especially because he doesn't get a hammer. He can take Power Fist, Lightning Claws, or Curse Weapons. His Power Fist model is really cool, but I don't know. It's probably okay. I don't know if I'm like super excited about him though. There's probably some enhancements that can make him into a combat god, and then having a fast, punchy dude is probably gonna be good. Good old Huron Blackheart gets redeployment. Can reactively move and gets +1 OC. I believe that those are his previous abilities. Yep. Easy peasy. Mr. Sorcerer gets -1 to be hit. And he can deal mortal wounds to people who hit him. Yeah, that's all. He is unchanged. The Terminator Sorcerer can give you +1 AP. That's what he used to do, and then gives you reroll charges. I always think that this is the normal Sorcerer's effect. I don't know why I keep getting him confused, but the Warp Time, I guess it's because Warp Time used to be such a prevalent ability. Like literally every single Terminator, every Chaos Sorcerer in the universe cast Warp Time. And so I just assumed that that was what they all did now, and that's definitely not the case. Does the Terminator Armor Lord still have 6 wounds? I believe so. He sure does. 6 wounds right there. And he has damage still. What a tanky boy. Plus, he still has the Rites of Battle. So we'll have to pay attention to what battle tactics are in the detachments once we jump into them, because they are going to have a couple ways to get free battle tactics, which would be cool. All right, the Lord Discordant. Guy was a absolute nightmare for the longest time, and has not been seen in 10th edition, but maybe he's good now. He's T9, 10 wounds with a 2+ save, so he is a tanky boy. He's almost literally a Hellbrute defensively. I think he has 1 more wound and an invuln save, so he's harder to kill than a Hellbrute. Once per turn, at the start of your opponent's shooting phase, select 1 enemy vehicle unit. It takes a leadership task if it's passed. You get -1 to hit. If it's failed, it is not eligible to shoot. Does he always do that? That's really that's a lot. Especially because a lot of vehicles are not that good at passing leadership checks. I guess it's pretty annoying, but you can stack it multiple times, right? So you can use multiple of these guys to force multiple leadership checks on people. Yeah, and then he selects enemy vehicle units within 12. You get reroll wound rolls of 1 against them. Yeah, the problem is it's only vehicles. It's not you can't affect any other unit type, which is a little problematic. He's also mounted instead of vehicle himself, so he can't impact attack. He does have, I guess his attack profile is not that exciting, right? He's 9 attacks, only 4 of them are lanced and AP2, so he has like a bunch of infantry sweeping attacks, but he's not really good at killing big stuff, which is probably what you kind of want him for. But that's a very cute ability. The old Master Possession, +1 to advance and charge rolls. You can add +1 to advance and charge to psychic attacks in exchange for a mortal wound. That guy has not changed, it looks like. Master of Executions, get hit rerolls and wound rerolls against enemies below half strength, and get CP for killing characters. I don't believe that he is any different. Yeah, he is the same. The Demon Prince gives you the benefits of cover in an aura. Okay. You're probably getting cover anyway, so it's not that exciting. And then you get a floating reroll every time you hit or wound. Unironically good for a unit model with only 6 attacks. You will most likely drop 1 on each 1 or 2 on each combat step, so that wildly improves his efficiency, especially because you can reroll potentially into a sustain off of a Dark Pact. The Winged Demon Prince still doesn't get a model on the datasheet, poor guy. He deals a little mini impact attacks on the charge, and he can move over people to force battle shock checks, so kind of whatever. That's such a weird. I guess like you can battle shock people to stop them from overwatching in your movement phase, because it is during the movement phase, but I don't know. That's a strange ability. The old Warpsmith gets +1 to hit, heals D3, lone operative when next to vehicles, and you can make any vehicles take a battle shock check, and it's okay. You can stop Redeemers from overwatching potentially, which is a little nice. Does it have to be visible? No, just within 12. So that's kind of cute. The old Dark Apostle, he's just a chaplain, +1 to wound, prevent people from being battle shocked, and he does mortal wounds on the charge, or at the start of the fight phase. That's okay. I guess in exchange for his Dark Disciples, adorable. That's very cute. I love that. Alright, these are the Traitor Guardsmen, which I don't know if we're that excited about. Ooh, the Dark Commune. Looks like is the same. Grants his unit a 5+ invulnerable save. You get +1 to hit and wound. The Legionaries are the same. When they swing melee attacks, they get reroll wound rolls of 1. If you're on an objective marker, you reroll instead. Doesn't have to control the objective marker, you just have to be on it. The Cultist Firebrand. Is this a new datasheet? Or I thought this guy was just in the Cultist squad. I think that he is new. Yeah, I don't see him actually in the index. So he is an attachable character. So he can jump into the cultist bricks. He gives them reroll leadership checks and forces enemy infantry to take battle shock checks like Infernus Marines do. And he's got like a kind of a cool heavy flamer. Yeah, alright. I don't know. I guess, depending on how many points this guy is, he might just be like a good filler. If he's like a little 30-point dude or whatever, I think that he's actually pretty okay. He just gives up your assassination, but depending on the list that you're bringing, if you're taking a bunch of demon engines or whatever, like I don't know if it matters so much. And he's just like a little action monkey with a flamer that's not too bad. That can force a battle shock check occasionally. So, I don't know. I don't know if you're going to put him into a cultist unit to buff them, but if he's a little cheap boy, then it seems okay. Show Inky. Okay, here she is. It's the kitty. Oh, she's shy today. No, she just wants to sit. Oh, no, she wants to leave now. She's bouncing off the wall this morning. She's mad because I streamed like all day yesterday, and I streamed for like 12 hours yesterday between the morning stream we did and then a bunch of games that I'd scheduled. Here for Inky, not the cultist firebrand. That's fair. Inky's the stream firebrand. Cultist mobs still give you objective control. Yeah, at the end of your command phase, easy peasy. Trader guardsmen give you benefits cover and objectives. Who cares? What a guy. The old Felgor Beastman can come out of strategic reserve in the first turn. Is that what they used to do? What were their... No, they used to get +2 to charge on enemies that are on objective markers. Huh. So that's actually... I guess depending on the cost here, that lets you Action Monkey top of 1 with this unit. If you like pull Investigate on turn 1, you just put them in the corner immediately. Or you pull like Engage in all fronts. You can't do behind enemy lines because you can't go in their deployment zone. But yeah, it's like unit actually seems kind of okay. Assuming that they're like 65 points. For 10 guys. What do they just have? Like a chainsword or whatever? Yeah, a 3-attack chainsword. I think they're basically just Zangors, but they switch their like the Cabal point ability and the invuln save for this thing, so they should be somewhere around 65 points. And they've got like a cool little gun, a little devastating wound gun, which is not too bad. What are they currently? What is their current points value? Ooh, 10 points a model. Yucky. If they're 10 points a model, who cares? If they're 7 points a model, then I think we're talking. That's kind of cool. Chaos' Firebrands are the new missionaries? Yeah, I think so. For sure. Oh, no guns on the cultists anymore? Yeah, I guess I didn't look at their weaponry. They're just chainswords. Yeah, like, I don't... Like, realistically, that didn't matter. You had, like, the little grenade launcher guy and the stubber guy and the flamer guy. It's like, whatever, though. Those things weren't... They weren't actually doing damage. They were just there for show. I don't think that really matters. I did miss a Cursed Cultist. They lost their regeneration effect. I probably missed that. Oh, I haven't even looked at them yet. Yeah, I haven't gotten there. That is unfortunate for them if they did do that. But hopefully it means that the unit's cheaper, because they kind of like got wildly nerfed, right? Because they got way more expensive because they were super broken, and then they just had to kind of deal with the fact that they were like overcosted. Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's like an appreciable loss in damage for the heavy weapons in the cultist unit, but like you weren't taking them to deal damage to people, right? Like most of the time they were advancing to complete actions or complete secondaries. I don't know. Speaking, I haven't played Chaos Space Marine cultists, but speaking is a Thousand Suns stan. Those cultists have never like made a meaningful attack in their life. Sometimes they've done like 2 damage to somebody with their grenade launcher. And that's it. It's nice if you get to shoot them, but who cares? They're there for points. All right. Chaos Terminators. Each time you make a Dark Pact, you get hit rerolls. That's the classic. The big benefit for Abadoobadon there is if the weird part is that you would like often profane seal them anyway, so it didn't matter so much. But I don't know what that stratagem looks like now. Chosen get advanced, fall back, and shoot, so they're still amazing. They're still 3 wounds. And they, I think, still have all of their weapon options. For every 5 models, you get 2 plasma pistols, 2 combi weapons, 1 paired accursed weapon, 1 power fist. Kind of awkward. Awkward profile there. But you can put Abaddon in the unit now, and he can advance and generate you command points. I don't know. That's pretty cool. Exciting stuff. Chaos Biker's still here. Ooh, they lost their uppy downy. Each time you make a melee attack, if you make a charge move, you get +1 strength. Okay. I mean, I guess like you bring cursed weapons to strength 6, power fist to strength 9. Like those are okay breakpoints, but you're not taking Chaos Bikers to punch people. You're taking Chaos Bikers to do actions. So these guys might be dead. If they can't jump into Strategic Reserve and then come off and complete secondaries, that definitely hampers the utility game of Chaos Space Marines quite a bit. Maybe everyone's just going to take Felgor Beastmen instead. Maybe that's going to be the game plan. Cultists kill spore mines. Yeah, that's true. You know, you're not wrong. That's something they can do. Raptors. Enemy units within 6 inches get -1/2 battle shock checks. Start of the fight phase, enemy units engage range have to take a battle shock. Is that what they did previously? I actually had no idea what Raptors did beyond kill you with mortal wounds. That is exactly the same, in fact. What a time. Yeah, alright, well, fair enough. Good job, Raptors, I guess. And there is a Raptor detachment that's entirely based around battle shocking people. So having or is a battle shock, an additional battle shock, like, outs is good. Warp Talons. At the end of the fight phase, if this unit was eligible to fight and not within engagement range of one or more enemy units, you could remove it and place it into Strategic Reserve. What the fuck? Oh my god. Alright. This is where we get to the spice, chat. This ability is insane. So, their melee profile stayed the same. They're basically an accursed weapon with Twin Linked.
Trevi's last cultists died storming the cigarette.
No, that was the first wave, chat. I got more cultists now. The Ziggurat will not defeat me. I will rise again. I will move slowly up its 1-inch tall steps. One additional inch of vertical movement at a time. No, I printed out. Oh, I was going to show the stream yesterday. I 3D printed. I found an STL file that had a little skeleton man. It's a Tomb King's like skeleton warrior, but he's got a las gun. There's a couple different poses, and I modded some of them to have like grenade launchers and stubbers and stuff. And I printed out 30 of them the other day. So I have 30. Those are going to be my Tomb King or my Tomb Kings, my Thousand Suns cultists. They're adorable. I love them. I'm gonna have little Egyptian zombie like mummies as my cultists, and I'm very excited about it. Yeah, so if they kill their target, or importantly, so this is I love this wording because I think it shows a little bit of forethought. They also get to uppy downy if they were eligible to fight. So if you completed a charge and don't end in engagement range, you can go into Strategic Reserve. So here's the reasons that those are important. First of all, if you charge with 2 units and one of them kills the enemy, or they both kill the enemy, because they were both eligible to fight that phase, because they charge, they can both go into reserve. If they kill you on your opponent's turn, so if you pile into them, for example, or you charge them and don't kill them and they kill you, they can uppy downy. Because it's not your fight phase, it's any fight phase. If they kill you, but you pull out of engagement of them, they don't have to have destroyed you, they just have to be unengaged. So if they kill you, and, like, for example, you have a character in your unit, and they charge to the side where the character is not, then you have to take your saves in the bodyguard models in the unit. So you take the saves on the regular guys, leave the character alive, and you have to pull out of engagement of the Warp Talons, and you just go, I'm not going to consolidate. End of fight phase, into strategic reserve. This ability is, like, nuts, actually. The situations in which it come up is going to be so insane. The open question is how how Slaves to Darkness has survived and whether or not there are other detachments that buff them. Because if they still have the Slanesh advance and charge, these things are going to be everywhere. Everyone is going to be playing Warp Talons. Yeah, this unit seems to be incredible. What was their old ability? Did they have one? Oh, when you fall back from them, you take a battle shock check. Whatever. This ability is much better. Yeah, no, this unit... We'll have to see points values, but this unit is definitely one of my picks for best in the Codex for sure. That ability is insane. Sometimes you're just going to flub it and not get to go into reserve, but, like, they still just do the things that they used to, right? They just still go in and, like... You scalpel out utility units and, like, ping light vehicles and stuff, which is exactly what you want them to do. Chaos Spawn got a OC0. It's unfortunate. An enemy unit is within 3 inches, get -1 objective control. At least it's -1 objective control and not half objective control. And they're probably still going to be cheap, but they lost their healing, which was kind of like half the reason you played them. Because they were really sticky to kill on objectives. You'd have to do 4 wounds through T5 and like a 3+ save and cover to actually do anything, and then if you didn't, they would just heal. So, like, mortars and stuff wouldn't kill them. And they're not holding objectives anymore, and they're also not healing. So, like, they're an offensive unit, but they hit on 4s? I don't know. Maybe they're cheap. They do still have the Slanesh advance and charge? Okay, well, yeah, that unit's going to be insane. Seems good. Killed several Dreadnoughts and Tau vehicles with it. Yeah, it's just like... It's if the enemy was not battle shocked, you take a Desperate Escape. If it was battle shocked, the Desperate Escape was -1. So they just made your Desperate Escapes worse. And I think, like, that's way more situational versus an ability that may just come up every turn, right? And I think the interesting thing is, and there's like a little bit of interesting kind of, I don't know, there's like a narrative synergy where the Warp Talons, they're like the Night Lords. I don't want to say they are the Night Lords guys, right? But they're like kind of Night Lords themed Marines. And so the whole idea is that they're performing these like sort of hit and run terror attacks. And you are incentivized because of the abilities on their datasheet to target weak enemy units and kill them like ferociously. And I think it's kind of like the Drukhari power from pain tokens, where what you want to do is start by killing your opponent's like light idiot, like small units to generate you pain tokens so that you can like get more damage into their bigger stuff later. Those kind of abilities that support the narrative of the game, I think is really cool. And having Warp Talons be this like brawler unit that would go in and just like try to engage the whole enemy army, like, I don't know. It was good, but I don't know if it was like quite as exciting. But this is like not only extremely powerful, but also extremely thematic. Like, I don't know. These guys might be, they're just it's good design. It's just good design. It might be broken. that's the downside. It could also just be wildly overpowered, but we'll see. I wonder if the Chaos Spawn will go down in points. Yeah. I would hope so. They're 32 points a model right now. And if they go down to like 25, then I think you might be interested in them. It's just like, I think they are good going in with other units, especially like Chosen and like the combat units are only OC1 for the most part. So going in alongside those other guys and reducing enemy OC so you can steal objectives from them, it's like, that's something, I guess. And then you can always just use them as a strategic reserve, like Action Monkey. Havoc's Ignore, hit roll penalty, and ballistic skill modifiers, which I believe is what they used to do. Yeah. They also, man, sucks to be a Devastator Space Marine because all of their heavy weapons hit on 5 or hit on 4s, and these ones hit on 3s. They just have heavy built in. Well, it's because of the stabilization feat thing, but man, I wish I was a Havoc. I would have dedicated myself to the Dark Gods ages ago if I was a Devastator. Although, for whatever reason, Chaos Space Marines haven't figured out how to build a Razorback yet, so I guess that makes sense. There's a little give or take. Oh, they also don't get multi-meltas. Okay, well, all right. It's a little bit less one-dimensional than I thought it was. The Hellbrute still gains both abilities conferred by Dark Pact. That's still good. T9 and 2+ save. Bunch of attacks. Yeah, they don't look like they've changed at all. The old Hell Drake. Not great. +1 to hit against enemies that fly. It's alright, I guess, right? You're probably taking the Bale Flamer, though. It's ignore cover, 2 damage. Like, unironically really good Flamer profile. It's a slightly worse Flamestorm Cannon, but you get it on a 20-inch mover. And they have devastating wound melee attacks with anti-fly, so they're really good at not killing, but quite killing vehicles. They can charge into an enemy aircraft and do, like, 8 damage to it. And then you're going to be like, okay. That's okay with me, so I don't know. The Venom Crawler. If one or more attacks made by the model destroyed an enemy unit, you get +1 attack because they soup up. I believe that's what they used to do. Who remembers when when they killed you with anything? Yeah, okay, yeah, it used to be any phase. That is what it used to be. And now it's fight phase only. That's significantly worse. And it still affects all of their weapons. So they will still get additional attacks on their cannons if they kill people, but it must be in the fight phase. And they are fast. They're 12-inch movers, so they'll probably get there. They just have to kill you with an AP 1/2 damage weapon, which is not particularly exciting. It's weird because they're much better at shooting than they are fighting, but they're incentivized to go into melee, which is like, I don't know. They literally have double the damage output in shooting as they do in melee. Not counting cover. The Mauler Fiend ignores penalties to his movement characteristic. It's not that exciting, to be honest. Although, it sounds like the Vashtor detachment might be good for them, so maybe there's some play with Mauler Fiends. I don't know. I don't know if I quite rate them outside of World Leaders, though. Unless they're cheaper. But the World Leaders Mauler Fiend has shown me the way. Those guys are nuts. The old Forge Friend can choose to have devastating wounds and hazardous. That is not changed, it looks like. Exactly the same. What a Chad. A Rhino. A Land Raider. A Predator Annihilator. These are the same. A Destructor. A Vindicator. Might be one of the better units in the Codex. The Defiler. Let's see what has changed with him. Downside of the Defiler is that you have to play the Defiler, which is unfortunate. You have to play the Defiler model. Alright, so he's gained this new ability, Demon Forge. Once per fight phase, you can be targeted with counter-offensive for 0 CP, even if you have already targeted a different unit with the stratagem. Wait. That's very niche use case, but I think you can just double slam interrupts. So That's kind of silly, right? You go, okay, you have charged and fought. I will pay 2 CP to interrupt, and then duplicate it with Demon Forge. And then you're, like, I guess you have to interrupt with the 2 CP interrupt first, but then your Defiler just gets to go after your other guy goes too. You have to be in a very specific situation for that to be good, but there's going to be a situation where somebody just gets gotcha'd by this and loses the entire game immediately. Like, their entire army just gets to fight in their own fight phase. Phantom Crawlers are going to be interesting if you know the detachments. Yeah, we'll have to look at what the detachments synergize with them. They're like, that ability is so much worse than their current one though, and they already are like fringe playable, so they really need some help to be really good. Other than that, I believe the Defiler has remained the same. He's still got his D6 plus 1 damage clause. They're strength 16, so he's really good at tank shocking. You can take an extra attack weapon. He's got his battle cannon, right? Strength 10, AP 1, 3 damage. I wish I ignored cover. I've kind of been, I don't know, I guess like spoiled by the Castigator profile. Not that I actually play Castigators, but playing against them, I'm like, this does feel like what a battle cannon should do. It's not like gonna end the game, but it does do consistent damage to your opponent. Whereas the, like, AP1, not ignoring cover, your opponent's just like, I'll save on 3s. And you hand them like 2 saves, and they save both of them, and you're like, great. I'm glad we wasted our time doing this. What a time to be alive. So his shooting's not that great, but his melee is excellent, and a free interrupt is definitely something. That's a very silly ability that occasionally is just gonna end games. There's gonna be so many like random judge calls for that one too. Like, wait a minute, how does this work? Yeah, so I don't believe there's anything that prevents you from just declaring the use of 2 stratagems at the same time, right? Like, it might require an FAQ, right? But I don't. You can definitely declare like the use of multiple responsive effects. You know, like you can't be like, after an enemy moves and you have 2 units with reactive moves, like you get to use all the reactive moves, right? Your opponent just gets to choose the order. I think that the opponent gets to choose the order in which the counteroffensives resolve, but I'm not 100% sure. But I think it's, I don't know, it's kind of unclear, I guess. Counteroffensive itself? Right, so the stratagem is used after you finish fighting. But there's nothing saying that you can't just like dupe it, right? Right, in order to use it twice in a phase is what I'm saying. You have to have used it already first, right? But like 40k doesn't have like concrete like timing windows, you know what I mean? So like declaring the use of a stratagem, I don't believe prevents you from using a second stratagem. Where's the stratagem? Let's look at counteroffensive. Yeah, yeah, Cody, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I guess, like, I see your point. I think it could be rolled the other direction. And that's probably, like, less silly, to be fair. But, like, I guess, like, I don't know. Maybe the intention is that, like, the last gameplay action would have been the declaration of counteroffensive. So the timing to do this is gone. But I think that breaks a bunch of stuff. Like, a lot of reactive effects don't really work if that's the case, you know what I mean? If you have, like, stacked triggered things, then you only ever get one of them to use in response to something. And I don't know if that is... if that's how the rules are meant to be played. That might be better, though. Like, so, like, if you could only ever declare one response to anything, I don't know if that's better. Maybe each player is supposed to have a response, because, like, you could basically, like, hold priority for stuff. If you had things that triggered at the end of movements and stuff, you could prevent enemies from overwatching you. Like, let's say you have like a bombing effect, right? And your opponent's holding up an Overwatch, and you use your bombing effect, which says just after you move, do a thing, and Overwatch says just after you move, do a thing, and you say you can't Overwatch because I've just resolved my bomb. Like, I don't think that's the intention of the rules. It absolutely. It's just never gonna get FAQ'd because it's also never gonna happen. But it definitely needs a clarification. Like, how does timing work in 40k? how does like active player priority actually work? But that's okay. It doesn't really matter, and I don't really want to. I'll think about it. I'll think about it later, and we'll see if there's any precedent. Yeah, I don't know. I guess the takeaway is that I'm not sure how it works. But we're not going to get dragged into rule stuff right now. That's for a Tuesday stream. When we get stuck in rules forever. The Khorne, Lord of Skulls. In fight phase after he makes his attacks, each enemy unit within 6% of battle check. I think that's what he does right now. It's a functionally worthless ability. Yeah, he's got the same ability. This ability is really trash. Which is sad, but at least the Khorne Lord of Skulls is okay anyway. He's just got a bunch of guns and melee attacks, so he's alright. The Noctilith Crown. So Dudes was saying Noctilith Crown got a big nerfy. So it used to give Heretic Astartes models wholly within 9 of 4+ invulnerable save. Now it gives them +1 leadership. Okay. To be fair, that is good, because +1 leadership affects your Dark Pacts. That is not worth taking a Noctilith Crown for, I think, though, almost assuredly. And he gives you cover. Oh, it's malign cover, though. It's not even normal cover. It's the bad kind of cover. Plus, you can shoot a melee with it. Who cares? Whatever. All right, we're at a Cursed Cultist. Oh, these guys got totally different. So they have Scout. They didn't Scout before, right? That's new. Yeah, no, they have a 6-up Feel No Pain, and now they Scout 6 inches. Previously, at the start of your command phase, they returned either a Torment or 3 Occultists. Now they have Blood Surge. Each time an enemy unit has shot... Hey! The updated wording, chat! Let's go! Previous Blood Surge, to clarify, previous Blood Surge abilities specified that the enemy unit has to have been selected to shoot, which is an open question whether it works on Overwatch, which has also never been clarified. Thanks, G-Dub. But now it clearly does, because it's after the enemy unit has shot. You don't need to be selected, which is a shooting phase activation. That's very exciting. That makes me happy, because that's one less dumb question that we have to constantly answer. This Codex is kind of nice so far, I think, in terms of like the timing and activations of stuff. Feel like they're very thought out, which I appreciate. You can make a horde move. You roll 1d6. You can move a number of inches up to the result, but must finish the move as close as possible to the closest enemy unit. So it's the same function as blood surging. You can be moved into engagement range. You cannot do it while battle shocked. So the funny thing, and I have an entire video about how these moves work. The funny thing about them is that they only care about the unit distance. So they check the distance from your closest model to the attacker's closest model, and then that distance has to close by as much as possible. Beyond that, so the closest model to the enemy must go directly towards them as far as it can. Everyone else in the unit just moves d6. So they can just like go run onto objectives and stuff and mess with your opponent. And I think that seems like it's going to be ideally the use case where you have this huge unit that scouts and then just sort of messes up the middle of the table for your opponent for a turn, and they'll probably kill them, even though it might be hard because it's a million wounds with a 6+ feel no pain and maybe a 5+ invuln, but they'll do so while sort of being annoyed, I guess. So, I mean, we've gotten to the point where GW is writing new books. No, I don't think so. I think that is a revelation that came after the core rules were written. Because the Space Marine Codex also had like a similar timing thing clarified. Their floating rerolls trigger each time, once per phase each time they attack. So unlike like Eldar floating rerolls where you're like, I'm selected to shoot, I get a reroll, there's just work every single phase. They don't require a selection, which just cleans everything up, right? It just heads off so many questions. Can I do this with reactive fire? Can I do this with whatever? You just get to do it because you're attacking. Easy. Just don't like to think about it too hard since the turd and smelling barbecue. Yeah. Yep. I get that, chat. Yeah, it's a little bit of a mess for sure. Possessed. When they do a dark pact, they get devastating. Sick. They're the same, I think. Were they always tough to 6? That's high. Yeah. They have not changed as far as I can see. Well, that's good, because that means they're still going to be played. Obliterators. Looks like they're the same. Once per battle, they get indirect fire. Cool. Alright. T7. Power Fists. A bunch of super sick guns. They have a Melt a 2, D3 damage gun. Yeah, blast weapon. And a hail sustained. All good. And then that's it. That's all the data sheets. Cool. Are we missing anything? Noise Marines are gone, but I think we are expecting to get those probably next week or the week after with the Emperor's Children Index. Dude, we have so many frickin' things to talk about. I just recorded a video talking about like breaking down all the faction mechanics in 40k, and maybe I hold off on that video because the Emperor's Children Index isn't out yet. And that's going to be a whole new thing. Maybe I will. That'd be awkward to have it be invalidated immediately. Yeah, so Noisy Boys are out, but they're probably going to be able to ally back in. And otherwise, like they have all the battle line units that can join in. And the Exalted Champion is not in here, as far as I could see. And I think that's it. And to be fair, this is Leak City, so we might those might just be missing from the scan. It's 122 pages. Where are the characters? Not missing any pages, are we? It probably would be around where Chaos Lords are. 117. 116, 115, 114. I have no idea what page number that is. 112. No, I think it's probably fair to say that those are gone. Doesn't seem like they're in there. The new Cultist Firebrand replaced him? Yeah, I guess so. It seems like a downgrade. I don't know. Nobody played Exalted Champions. But they seemed really good. They were just expensive, I think. But they used to give you +1 to hit and D3 strength when you Dark Pacted, which is kind of a lot. But you had to take them. You could combo assign them alongside a Lord, and it seems like you could really Death Star out like a big Chosen unit or something. But maybe they didn't want them. You do that. All right, chat. Let us talk about the detachments. So I haven't had a chance to look through these in great detail. So these are I'm seeing some of them for the first time. But we have Veterans of the Long War. So the detachments are the Veterans of the Long War, Deceptors, kind of an Alpha Legion style, Renegade Raiders, which gives you Assault and +1 AP, Dread Talons, which is, I think was spoiled a couple days ago, but is a Battle Shock Matters detachment. Fellhammer Siege-Host, ooh, Iron Warriors, some Iron Warrior stuff. Strength is greater than your toughest characters. You get +1 to the entire army against transhuman physiology? Jesus Christ, okay. The Soulforged Pact. You can invoke a contract when you make a Dark Pact. You get -1 to the test, but you get +1 to wound or +2 attacks in melee. That's very good. That's extremely good. You burn out more quickly, but you +1 to wound with all your stuff is really good. Chaos Cult. Damned units that are selected to make a normal move, advance, or charge can make a Desperate Pact. Gets +2 move, +2 to charge. Traitor Guardsman getting the battle line keywords. You're very fast. Okay. Pactbound Zealots. That's a lot. That's a bunch of stuff. Okay. We'll talk about that when we get there. And then the data sheets. Okay, so it looks like Slaves to Darkness has morphosed into Veterans of the Long War, I think. Is it right? No, this is entirely different. So Slaves to Darkness is gone. Unless I'm missing pages, which could be the case. Which is that's a big deal. The detachment just disappeared. Huh. Bizarre. Alright. Well, let's just take a look. Slaves to Darkness is Pactbound Zealots? Oh. That's why it was so long, because it was all the Marks of Chaos. Maybe I should have read it. I don't even know how to read. Yeah, you're right. You're right, chat. Yeah, okay. Yep. I sort of assumed that was a possessed-focused detachment, but I did not, in fact, read it, so... Fair enough. All right, good. It's still here. Cool. Veterans of the Long War. Let's start at the top. Start of your command phase, select one unit from your opponent's army to be the focus of your hatred. You get rerolls against it, excluding damned models. So you literally just have Oaths of Moment. Get wrecked, Space Marines. That is cool, though. I like thematically that they ape the space, like the Veterans of the Long War, the Chaos Space Marine, kind of like Black Legion detachment, apes the way Space Marines work. That makes a lot of sense. That's pretty sweet. Enhancements. You can get a 5+ critical wound each time the bearer makes an attack that targets your focus of hatred. So it doesn't work on your hits, so you don't get your lethals or sustained off of it, but you do get your Demon Hammer's devastating wounds, which is something, at least. And it's literally only Chaos Lord, so that's like the only use case, unless you have some sort of ability that triggers on... some sort of additional ability that triggers on critical wounds, which is probably just a Demon Hammer. Just buffing a Demon Hammer. Eager for Vengeance. You can fall back, shoot, and charge. You get +1 to hits. +1 to charge against the focus of your hatred. I have Abaddon. Each time you destroy a focus of hatred, you get a CP on a 4+. It's alright, I guess. That one's going to be like randomly 30 points, though, for no reason. Mark of Legend. Once per turn, you can reroll 1 hit roll, wound roll, and saving throw made for the bearer. That's also pretty good. I wonder if there are any like big characters you could take with that. The only one I can think of is the Lord Discordant, but I don't know if that's that exciting with that guy. I want somebody who's... It's once per turn or once per phase? It's once per turn. It's a little annoying. It's not just a floating reroll, but I guess like Masters of Possession maybe, because they have a gun and a melee attack, so they're going to be able to use it more often. Although oftentimes they're just advancing and charging whatever they're about to, and shooting whatever they're about to charge. So they only get one use of it anyway. Maybe a Demon Prince, yeah. The Demon Prince's gun's bad, though. Like, I'm not excited about rerolling. It's, like, nice, I guess, but I'm not excited about rerolling that thing. You'd want a character where you can use it multiple times. And I guess the Demon Prince is, like, probably not just going to die when he wades into combat. So it's probably the way to go. But paying points for, like, essentially one command reroll is not that exciting. And I guess, like, on the regular Demon Prince, you get 2, right? Because he gets his floating reroll also. That's kind of cute. That's, like, edging on the territory of full rerolls, which is it's all right. That's something, I guess. If you're, like, hitting on 2s, winning on 2s against infantry with 2 floating rerolls, it's all right. All right, I'm talking myself into it. Endless Ire. Let's see. So you can give your opponent... you can give a second unit within 12 inches of a character. For 2 CP, you can make them your Oath target. So you can select one, shoot it to death, and then select the thing you're about to charge. That's very good, but 2 CP is a lot. And it is also not a battle tactic. Contemptuous Disregard gives you Armor of Contempt. All right, fair enough. Bringers of Despair. Oh, gives you Fight first. If you are fighting your Focus of Hatred, that's pretty cool, actually. So you could... Like, there are situations with Oaths of Moment where you choose it defensively so that you can Overwatch more effectively against enemies, like, coming out of reserve. But you can, in this instance, choose it to defend against enemies who are charging you. And that's very cool. So, for example, if they have, like... They're playing, like, Green Tide or whatever, and they have a really consistent charge out of Deep Strike. You can choose the unit that's about to charge at you on your turn as your reroll target, and then they redeploy, charge, hit you, and you fight first into them. That's kind of cute. And then you're also getting rerolls in that situation. Very, very niche, but there's going to be situations where that flips the game on its head. Or just entirely informs some matchups. It's kind of sweet. These stratagems are cheap? I don't know about that. There are 2 CP stratagems in this attachment. Black Crusade. You can shoot a turn in which you advance or fall back. Infantry or mounted only. Bolt pistols, bolt guns, and combi bolters have devastating wounds. While your unit has not already inflicted 6 wounds in the turn. Yeah, so they found a way to get the devastating wounds and the wound cap. So this is where this comes in, right? Because you could put it on like a Terminator character, and you could fire a combi bolter and critical wound on 5s. I think is the other intention there. Because this is not melee attacks only, right? That's any attack. Makes an attack, yeah. I guess you could also just give them a combi weapon. And then they would critical wound on 5s with their normal combi weapon. Assuming they can take that, actually. I have no idea. Terminator Chaos Lords. Can you take a combi weapon? It's not a bolter? Yeah, okay, they can. Yeah, so they can take a naturally devastating weapon. Regular Chaos Swords cannot, though, right? No, they just get pistols. Sad. You're probably still using it on a Demon Hammer guy, but it's kind of cute. Let the Galaxy Burn gives you non-Tzeentch units. I think we talked about this in the Discord the other day. It's probably because of Rubric Marines, so you don't get to maximize the attack characteristic of torrent weapons on a full rerolling Rubric Marine squad that gets like critical, the +1 AP on critical wounds. That'd be a little good. You just rock up and shoot 60 times with full rerolls. Sorry, buddy. 62, in fact, because you have a smite from the little guy. Millennia of Experience gets you a reactive move. Sick. All right. Yeah, so this detachment feels very Space Marine-y. It just feels like it's very consistent, you know? It's very Black Legion. You're supposed to be taking big Terminator units and giving them devastating wounds. But it plays kind of like a sort of like slightly worse version of Gladius Task Force. You get Dark Pacts, which is better, but you're slower. So, I don't know. That's kind of fun. Probably, I don't know, it doesn't seem like it's going to be quite as powerful as Slaves to Darkness, or whatever the new one is, but assuming that it hasn't changed dramatically. But it seems fine. Deceptors. It depends on what you're ignoring cover on here, I think. If you can use this on Havoc, so I guess it works on any Heretic Astartes unit. So you could use it on the big tanks and stuff. And that's probably fine. But if you're using it on like bolt guns, right? They're AP 0, so your opponent's probably going to be on 3+ save regardless, so it actually doesn't do anything. But if you're using it on like big heavy weapons, it definitely gives you +1 AP, which is solid. All right, Deceptors. In the battle formation step, you can put a number of legionaries and cultist mob units. They gain infiltrators depending on the game size, so up to 3. And their attached character units have infiltrator. Excluding epic heroes. Why? I guess they don't want you to infiltrate Abaddon. Alright, it makes sense. I get it. Oh, it's only legionaries and cultist mobs, though. Which is, I assume, just actual legionaries, right? Like, Chosen, I imagine, don't have the legionary keyword. Yeah, it doesn't appear like they would. So, getting legionaries infiltration is pretty good, and all cultists with infiltration is always going to be good. Do cultists still have scout chat? I will not subject anyone to me scrolling through this infinitely to find the cultist datasheet again. I probably should have looked at that when I had first peeked at the little cultists. They no longer have scout, or they didn't have scout. They weren't the scouting guys. They always objective secured. Yeah, it's the Thousand Sons ones that do. So it doesn't matter. If you had infiltrate and scout, that would be nuts, but just infiltrate's fine. Certainly not bad. It's like a little, I don't know. Having a million like a garbage ass cheap infiltrating units is really good. And it's also specifically cultist mobs, not cultist units, or not damned units, so you don't get it on a cursed cultist, which is good, as far as I know, unless they also have cultist mob keyword for some reason. Enhancements. Non-Terminator or Jump Pack Lords can set up in reserve. In the reinforcement step of one of your movement phases, you can select one model in a friendly Legionnaire or Chosen unit on the battlefield. The selected model is destroyed. And the bear is set up as close as possible to where that unit was destroyed within engagement range of enemy units. You can set the bear up in reserves instead of setting it on the battlefield. In the reinforcement step of one of your movement phases, you can select one model in a friendly Legionnaire chosen, excluding attach. So you can't double attach with it. Is this a meme? It feels like a meme. Is that good? It's only Chaos Lords, and it's only foot Chaos Lords. And you just get to put them in a Legionnaire unit that you could have put them in anyway. But, like, the upside is that you get to put them in a position where you get to, like, go attack what you want to do. The downside is that you can get Omni-Scramblered. Which I think just fucking coherency checks your whole unit. Probably never going to happen because you have control over it. And you also pay points and lose a model. That feels like a meme, chat. But very funny objective, though. The old bait and switch. It was me all along. I was here. Shroud of Obfuscation. Infantry only, you have stealth and lone operative. Done. Sold. I love that. We can put that on the little flame guy. We can put it on the little firebrand, and then you just get a little firebrand running around, and he's like cheap and he does actions. All right, sold. That's good. Cursed Fang, you get +1 AP and precision. All right, solid. And Soul Link. Start of your command phase, you can select one other Heretic Astartes infantry character from your army. So the start of your next command phase, bearer gains the Psyker keyword. Replace the bearer's datasheet abilities with the datasheet abilities of the selected character. Until the start of your next command phase. So you can... Who are the infantry characters in the Codex, chat? Oh, we're gonna do a scroll here. That does not say not epic hero. Oh no, it does say a not epic hero. Just kidding. Okay. So who's the best one to Soul Link off of? It is probably the Master of Possession, I want to say. Like, I guess, realistically, if you take a bunch of different characters, you can, like, benefit from all of them, right? Like, the MOE can give you hit rerolls. The Master of Possession can give you, like, I guess it's only psychic attacks. It gives you +1 hit and wound. So that's actually not that good. He doesn't work on Demon Princes. You can get +1 to wound from the Dark Apostle. That's kind of cute. And that's also, I guess it replaces the bearer's datasheet abilities. So if you are a Chaos Lord, it like you lose your damage amp. I guess like you maybe give it to this guy. Maybe you give it to this guy and you steal the Chaos Lord's damage amp. That maybe feels like the way to go. That's the way to make your Raptor characters like actually do damage. Is you could like steal the Dark Apostles like +1 to wound, or you can steal the other dudes like +1 attack, strength, and damage. That feels alright. But you have to have those models on the table just chilling and like hanging out. Yeah, the Terminator Lord's the other one, too. Like, you're recharging somebody and murdering them. It doesn't matter if you're -1 damage, yeah. Yeah. That's a cool ability. I think it has enough restrictions on it, and it requires you to jump through enough hoops that it's, like, totally fine. Here's the question, though, right? And this is going to absolutely need an FAQ. If you replace your datasheet abilities with a foot Chaos Lord's datasheet abilities and then use their once per game, is their once per game used? I don't know. Is that ability a duplication of the text? Or do they literally gain this ability? Do they, like, literally cut it off their datasheet and then replace it and then use their once per battle? Probably you get to use it an extra time. But then, if you keep doing it, can you keep using Chance for Glory? That's definitely not covered in the text, right? Oh, shit. Have I lost my spot? I think I did. Yeah. I don't know. I have no idea if that's how that works. Alright, let's talk about some freaking stratagems. I love these. I like these abilities, chat. They're very cool and thematic, but man, I was up on some of the cleaned up timing, but they've opened cans of worms I don't know if they were entirely ready for. If you could just take a Chaos Lords +1 strength, attack, and damage, and you reuse it every time, I feel like you're just doing a great time. Lucius the Eternal's not in it, but none of the Emperor's Children units are in the Codex, but they are getting an index like probably in a week or something. So they're like lost, but probably not really. Detonator. After an enemy model with deadly demise, non-titanic is destroyed, you can automatically inflict mortal wounds from the deadly demise view of a character within 18 inches. Okay. That's cute. From all sides. Start of your charge phase. Add +1 to charge rolls made for your unit for each other Heretic Astartes unit from your army that made a charge move this phase. Oh, until the end of the phase. Ooh, that's annoying. So you use it at the start of the phase, this stratagem. You use it at the start of the phase, but at the time you use it, you don't know what your bonus is. So, like, I guess and it's also a battle tactic. So to be fair, we can free strat it with the Lords, the Chaos Lords, which is okay. So if you throw a bunch of garbage at your opponent, and I think the idea, right, is that you have infiltrating, like, cultists and stuff. So turn 2, you drop like a bunch of jump pack dudes in or whatever, Terminators or something. And then you charge with all your idiot cultists who are in the middle of the table, and you get like +2 or 3 on your charge, and then you have like a really realistic charge at a deep strike. That seems okay, but there's definitely a situation in which you're like, all right, I'm going to make a bunch of 6-inch charges to buff my 9-inch charge, and then you fail a bunch of your 6-inch charges, and you're like, all right, well, guess I'll go fuck myself. You also run into the problem where, like, you could, if you fail a charge early in the phase, you want to take your longer charge later, but you can't do the thing where you you take your more important charges and then CP reroll them if you need to, because you're holding your more important charges for later. So you're incentivized to CP reroll your early charges, which makes your more important charges less likely to succeed. So, like, this is a good stratagem, but the play pattern is bizarre. I don't like the start of phase strats. Those are really annoying. Pick them off. One Heretic Astartes unit that has not been selected to shoot till the end of the phase. Target an enemy below starting strength, you roll hit rolls. Below half strength, you roll wound rolls. Solidly good stratagem. Hit rerolls for a CP. All you have to do is plink a devastating into somebody, and then you trigger hit rerolls on like a vehicle or something. Solidly good. Although a lot of times, I don't know, I feel like Abaddon's just like pulsing out rerolls on all your big shooting guys anyway, but it could be good for melee. If you dunk a las cannon into somebody and then get hit rerolls in melee, that's not too bad. Relentless Pursuit. You have a reactive move? Wow, everybody's getting fucking reactive moves. in this index. Jesus, or this codex. Okay. Scrambled coordinates. Start of the reinforcement step of your opponent's movement phase. One Heretic Astartes unit from your army until the end of the phase. Enemy units that are set up in the battlefield cannot be set up within 12 inches horizontally. Chat. we get to take the little firebrand guy, that little idiot cultist. Give him lone operative and then like run him up to an objective and it'd be like your opponent's movement phase. You're like, no 3-inch deep strikes. You also get to see they're gonna draw like capture enemy outpost, and they're like, all right, I'm holding up capture enemy outpost. Go to reinforcement step. You're like windmill slam that down. You're like, no, get away! You can't charge my outpost. It's mine. That's cute. That's good. It's much better. There was a version in 8th edition, I think, that like broadcast it. It was weird. It like broadcast it to your whole army, but it was like super weirdly written and very confusing. This is much nicer. You just get to make an Omni Scrambler aura for a CP, a little on one unit, and you can also do it on. To be fair, you can also do it on like your cultist units that are running up in the middle, and you can like blank out Wolf Jail. Although you don't really care that much if you're screening with cultists anyway. But it doesn't block rapid ingress. That's the thing to think about, because it only works in your opponent's movement phase. So you can't stop rapid ingresses from happening. Renegade Raiders. You get assault +1 AP on enemies on objectives, and that's any attacks. So it also works on melee attacks. Solidly good. Despot's Claim. Start of your command phase. If the bear is on the battlefield, roll a d6. Add +1 if the bear is wholly within 12 inches of your opponent's deployment zone. They did a lot of these, right? Because there's a bunch of CP generators that have like are on a tough roll, but you get an enhanced effect. I think most of the detachments have those. They basically like they just don't want you to windmill slam Abaddon in every list and regenerate CP off of them. Cultists are damned. Not Heretic Astartes? No, Heretic Astartes is the faction keyword, right, chat? If cultists were not Heretic Astartes, you couldn't play them because they all have to share that faction keyword. So you can do all this stuff on cultists as long as it says it doesn't exclude damned units. Yeah. Ta-da! There they are. Firebrand, Heretic Astartes. Dread Reaver. Each time the bearer makes a melee attack, if the bearer is wholly within 12 inches of your opponent's deployment zone, reroll the hit roll and wound roll. Whew. Okay. That's really good. Tyrant's Lash. Reroll advanced rolls to the bearer's unit. The bearer is eligible to shoot when it falls back. Whatever. Mark of the Hound. Models of the bearer's unit have a 6-inch scout ability. Alright. No wonder why they wanted to take Exalted Champions out, because you could double attach some of these enhancements, and that would be kind of nutty. 6-inch scout, real good. Hopefully Abaddon goes up, yeah. For sure. Although, yeah, I don't know. And we'll see how the detachments work out, because some of them might not require Abaddon. If you have other ways to gain rerolls, because it seems like a lot of them have other reroll outlets without just taking him. I think they're trying to add like additional options, because you have new ways to generate CP and new ways to gain rerolls. Like the rerolls against stuff below starting strength, or the rerolls against your Oath of Moment target in the other detachments. They have an Armor of Contempt. A little annoying that the Armor of Contempt is not the same as the Space Marine Armor of Contempt, or it just is named something. But I don't know. Scour and Seize. Each time a model unit makes an attack and targets enemy with an projector mark, you get precision. Ooh, what a time to be alive. Precision. Wow. Wow. Cool. Opportunistic Raiders. Until the end of the fight phase, if your unit is not within engagement range, it can make a normal move of up to 6 or 12. And it is a unit that was eligible to fight. If it's a mounted unit... Oh, say 12 inches if it is a mounted unit. Otherwise, you make a fallback move, cannot embark into a transport. That's any fight phase, chat. That's a good stratagem. That's very similar to the Anvil Siege Force strat that does the same thing, but I think only works on your opponent's turn. This one lets you do it on your turn. You have to have fought, though, or be eligible to fight. So if you charge, all the same situations that we talked about with the Warp Talons are still going to apply there. But the ability to fall back out of melee at the end of your opponent's turn, so they move in and attack, you fight them, and then you leave combat, and then you're free and clear to do whatever you want the next turn. That's pretty good. Warp charged engines, transports are mounted. You get a 6-inch advance, solidly playable. Ruinous Raid. You're shooting or fight. Heretic starters unit from your army to disembark your transport has not been selected to shoot. Till the end of the phase, you reroll the hit roll and wound roll if the target of the attack is in range of an objective marker. So it's like a fire support kind of deal. So you can use it on guys disembarking assault ramps. So it feels like that's what you want to be doing, right? Is you want to be taking land raiders. It kind of seems like they're trying to theme it towards bikes, but I think you want to take just heavy transports. And then you like jump out with a chosen unit, advance and charge, and get full hit and wound rerolls and +1 AP. That kind of is really good. The downside is you have no way to re-embark the transport effectively because the opportunistic raiders doesn't let you embark. Oh, it's alright. No, you cannot embark on transport if you disembark this turn. Oh shit! This lets you re-embark. Okay. So, yeah, alright. So there's like anti-synergy that makes this kind of hard to use. Because what you can't do is hold up 2 CP, disembark, move, charge, kill the unit, re-embark, and then do it again. You have to hold for a turn and like re-embark later. Which I guess is fine. Honestly, you probably only need to do this one time for it to be good, but... you can also use it both in the shooting and fight phase. So you can, like, disembark a bunch of, like, gun dudes from a rhino, and then shoot with them and get rerolls, and then charge with dudes out of a land raider and get rerolls also again. Or out of a rhino, I guess. And it's a battle tactic, so you can duplicate it. Okay, yeah, no, this attachment seems good. I think you're just going to take a bunch of rhinos and you're just going to like strat this a million times and it's going to be amazing. You can use it potentially 3 times in a turn and get full hit and win rerolls on enemies on objectives. Yeah, this seems amazing. Yeah, Havocs seem good with it, yeah. Yeah, I like Havocs. What do Possessed do in transports, chat? Can you put them in Land Raiders? They probably count as 2 models, I assume, right? So you can't do like big bricks that get wound rerolls. Where's the Land Raider, please? I'm sorry for the scrolling. Possessed takes up 2, so you only get 6 Possessed. Yeah. Cannot transport Obliterators or Jump Pack. So it does, yeah, it does feel like they are very heavily incentivizing you to play Chosen. Please, sir, please play our Chosen. We still have Chosen kits. Please play them. Yeah, I guess the other thing you can do is you can take a bunch of dudes, and then you can use the transports as springboards. So you like put 3 rhinos or whatever in the center of the table, disembark, like go kill people from them, and then go like run with the second wave and re-embark, and then do it again the next turn. So you're just like constantly pushing the center of the table super hard. And then you also have like this kit you can just use on a rhino to go do an objective or something, right? To like go run into your opponent's deployment zone or something. If whatever for tacticals that you need. You also have... This detachment seems really cool, by the way, chat. I'm kind of into it. Oh, and you have assault. Oh, so you can advance and fucking do actions. Ah! Now, this detachment fucking rules. Sick. Okay. Reaver's Haste. Heretic Astartes infantry are mounted from your army. Until the end of the phase, you are eligible to declare a charge and turn you advanced. Oh, God. If you select one or more units within range of objective marker as a target of the charge, you have to plus on the charge roll. Cool. This detachment's so good. Okay. So you can, like, disembark a Rhino, advance and charge, and get full hit and wound rerolls? Okay. Within range of an objective marker, to be fair. So there is counterplay. If your opponent just stands on all the objective markers, then you're good to go. But if they don't, then you just hold in your transports for a turn and, like, kill all their chaff with garbage guns. And then call it a day. Yeah, this detachment seems extremely strong. Well, no Warp Talons out of a Land Raider, right? Because it says no jump pack. Unless Warp Talons are randomly not jump pack units, but I cannot believe that that's the case. They literally have a jump pack on them. Yeah, they have the jump pack keyword. We're safe, chat. We're safe from the Warp Talons disembarking Land Raiders and getting full rerolls. Although they already hit on 2s. So, like, excuse me, they're already twin linked. They don't hit on 2s. They literally hit on 3s. But they're already twin linked. So, like, I don't even know if you really want the full rerolls on them. But plus 1 AP on those guys, don't get me wrong, real good. Plus 1 AP on objectives is really strong. Because most of the time what they're going to be doing is, like, running in, burning whatever's on an objective, and then just leaping into the air. Oh, jeez, this detachment seems so gross. Ugh. I have, like, you're like, all right, I'll body block your transports with my idiots. And you're like, okay, I'll kill them for free with Warp Talons and then just go into reserve and then Deep Strike next turn. And your opponent's like, okay, well, that didn't work. If I go to the objective, you just have full rerolls with a bunch of dudes with, like, you know, Cursed Weapons and Power Fist and plus 1 AP. And, like, I don't know. I guess, like, the full reroll, like, enhancement doesn't feel quite as exciting if you are getting, like, expecting that you're gonna get the detachment thing. Although you can use it on a demon prince, like a winged demon prince that just ingresses into your opponent's deployment zone and then gets hit and wound rerolls all the time. And impact attacks? Ugh. Good thing you can't make him advance and charge. That'd be nuts. Yeah, I don't know, chat. That detachment seems really good. Something tells me Emperor's Children get their own weird bondage cultists. I would not expect Emperor's Children to get new models. I wouldn't anticipate that the Index has a lot of new releases in it because they made it sound like the Index is coming imminently. They removed the existing Emperor's Children stuff from the Codex. And I think it's going to be a stopgap to play those units and to be able to ally them in with Chaos Space Marines for the time being until Emperor's Children get their own Codex sometime in the future. Maybe it's the redacted one, I don't know. But I have a sneaking suspicion that with the age of the Emperor's Children range, you would be seeing a lot more scuttlebutt about new models if they were getting a bunch of new releases, you know, soon. I think that they would do like a reveal stream at some point and be like, hey, we're doing a new Emperor's Children thing. Here's a bunch of new stuff. And that's probably when it's going to happen. But I have a sneaking suspicion that the Index is just going to be very bare bones. It's going to have like 2 or 3 data sheets, and it's going to have a new detachment. And that's going to be it. Wowee, the Battle Shock detachment. I was thoroughly underwhelmed when I read this when it was initially leaked. So you get the You get the horrible Death Leaper ability within 12. It is within 12, so it's the Chaos Knights version, so it's a little bit better. Battle Shock check your opponent's command phase. If you're below starting strength, you have to take a Battle Shock check. It doesn't stack with other Battle Shock checks. Each time an enemy unit within 12 inches of one or more Heretic Astartes takes a Battle Shock check, you subtract 1 from the result. That's all the time. It doesn't have to be affected by this thing. So it also works on like your Raptor Battle Shock checks and stuff like that. So you're really wanting to play Raptors here. Enhancements, you can get Stealth if you're not a Terminator, and you're specifically a Chaos Lord. Will Breaker gives you... You make Battle Shock checks on enemies after you hit them. After you made your attacks. Jesus Christ. That's like unplayable. Okay. Oh my god. Warp Field Thrusters, you get an uppy downy. Unironically good. That's good. It means you can Deep Strike turn 1, you can do all sorts of funny stuff. Eater of the Dead, yeah, this is their CP regen. If you get +1 to a d6 roll for each battle shocked enemy on the battlefield, and a 5+ you gain a CP. It's in your command phase, so they have to have battle shocked in their battle shock step, probably, unless they let you fight with a bunch of raptors on their turn, which they probably didn't do. Because those raptors are definitely dead. You have another version of Armor of Contempt. Oh no, this is +1 AP, excuse me. If you target a unit that's battle shocked or below half strength, you get +1 AP. That's okay, but I don't know why we're jumping through hoops to get +1 AP. And it's also fight phase only, so you can't use it with guns. Bloody Example, after you destroy a character, you can make everyone take a battle shock check, but it's in the fight phase, so like why? Pitiless Hunters gives you hit and wound rerolls against battle shocked enemies, or below half strength enemies, specifically in the shooting phase. So we have one Battle Shock Matter synergy that works in the fight phase and one that works in the shooting phase, but they don't cross-pollinate, so what are we doing with our lives? I mean, that is unironically a really good stratagem, but like I wish you could use it in melee, because it sounds like they want you to send raptors into melee, but the raptors aren't going to do anything, and they're going to die. Relentless Terror. After a Heretic Astartes infantry unit falls back, you can declare a charge. Cool. Not shoot, just declare a charge. Screaming Descent gets you a 3-inch deep strike, but you can't charge, and you make somebody take a battle shock check. At least that's a good point at the turn to take a battle shock check.
Why is he so scared of letting battle shock stack?
I don't know, chat. I don't know about the stacking battle shock checks thing. It's weird. It's like such... they tried to couch the effect so hard that, like they were worried that it was going to be too strong, I guess, when realistically it's not. Battle shock checks, out-of-phase battle shock checks that happen in your own turn are really bad, because they only matter for preventing enemy units from doing objectives, scoring your own objectives, and doing synergies. At least, like... you can those ones you can inflict on enemies to try to prevent their scoring, but maybe they just wanted to make the like seldom abilities that can inflict multiple battle shock checks, you know, more special. But I don't understand it. What you want to be doing is making battle shock more consistent for yourself, because you have to jump through so many hoops to do it. And that would be a way to do it, but just giving them -1 to a test and making them maybe take an extra one like once in a while is really kind of weird. Merciless Pursuit. An enemy that fell back this turn is within 6 inches. You can declare a charge. I like this stratagem, by the way. So if you're basing an enemy unit and they fall back, you are automatically within range to charge them again. So you can declare a charge target. You don't receive a charge bonus because that would be silly. But it means that among other things, you trigger I believe, I guess we'll look at the rules for this real quick. You trigger the, all of your eligible to fight synergies. So like the Warp Talent's uppy downy then turns on because you have made a charge move that turn. Yeah. So as long as you have made, oh, thanks, Wapedia, you're the best. As long as you have, literally just had it. Yeah, made a charge move in the same turn, then you're eligible to fight. So even if your opponent does other stuff to you, if you're able to kill them, then you can jump up into the air and then come back down. So that's like super cute, and it's like kind of it's probably why they didn't make you do the Desperate Escape thing with the Warp Talons and give them a much better ability, because they wanted them to have synergy in this attachment. And I do think they unironically do. Like you can get the +1 AP on them. They're already getting wound rerolls, so you don't need to source those anywhere. And you can like sort of keep them engaged. But man, would I much rather play them in the Raiders detachment? This feels so worthless. Just really bad. Yeah, I don't. All right, I'm not gonna spend more time on it. That one feels like the weakest one in the bunch for sure. Keeps you from getting shy for sure, definitely. All right, here's the Siege-Host. 10 Raider Talons have a 100% chance to kill Marines and a 70% chance to kill 5 Terminators. I don't know about 100% chance, chat. That feels like maybe an overestimation, but I mean if they packed for sustains, they are basically hitting on 2s, right? And then they're winning on 3s, re-rolling, forcing a 6-up save. So like it is probably very consistent that they kill the Marines, unless they Armor of Contempt maybe. But you're hitting like the stuff that you want to hit with the Warp Talons. And to be fair, I don't even think Warp Talons are the big 10-man Warp Talon squads are the way to go in that detachment, right? I think you're still taking Chosen, and you're taking like the sort of more focused combat units, and you take the Warp Talons to clear screens and stuff. Because getting +1 AP and making you better at killing utility units then just lets you jump back into reserve like more efficiently, right? And then I think you just like you windmill slam the full hit and wound reroll strat on stuff going in on enemies that you actually want to kill, and you'd hit them with a bunch of demon hammers and stuff. I don't know. The opportunistic raider detachment seems like just totally nuts. I would play the shit out of that detachment. You get to use transports, chat. The most broken unit in 40k. Let's go. All right, the Fellhammer Siege-Host. Each time a ranged attack targets a heretic Astartes unit from your army, excluding damned. If the strength characteristic of the attack is greater than the toughness characteristic, you get -1 to be wounded. So one thing that I don't know if I had entirely internalized when we were just reading through these earlier, that works on every unit. So that works on your legionaries, that works on your Warp Talons, that works on your Chosen. It's not just vehicles. So that's a very good ability, actually. All those like strength 5 melee, like ranged attacks, like heavy bolters suddenly wound your Chosen models on 3s or on 4s, excuse me. Okay. It's very good. Enhancements. Once for battle round, you can change a failed saving throw. Oh, jeez. To 0. It's a Chaos Lords excluding jump pack models for whatever reason. Here's the thing, chat. This enhancement exists in Custodes, but it's the strictly worse version of it. Because theirs works on the first failed saving throw, not any failed saving throw. Oh, that's really good. It is only Chaos Lords, so like I mean, I guess it depends on what you're taking, right? And if you have any offensive benefits. Time you make an attack while within range of an objective marker. +1 to wound. Good. Any Heretic Astartes model. So you can use that on Demon Princes and on big stuff? Okay. Iron Artifice. Bearers weapons have anti-vehicle, anti-fortification 4. So you can Devastate Wound with a Demon Hammer on 4s. Against vehicles, though. So not against monsters. A little bit funky. Warp Tracer. In your shooting phase, after you've shot, select one enemy unit hit by one or more attacks. It loses the benefit of cover. Yeah, these enhancements all are sweet. This one might be the weakest, which feels weird to say. Because it gives you anti-vehicle 4 with like a 3 damage hammer. A 6 attack, 3 damage hammer. Probably just one shots like a Land Raider by itself, but we'll see what the stratagems do. Persistent Assailants. So Heretic Astartes unit from your army that was selected as the target of one or more attacks this phase has not been selected to fight. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack, you can reroll the hit roll. If your unit is below half strength, you can reroll the wound roll as well. If your unit is below half strength. So you use it reactively. You use it when one of your units was selected as the target of an attack. Then it gives you wound hit rerolls and maybe also wound rerolls. That doesn't seem very good. But I don't know. I guess with the amount of resilience you're trying to get out of your units, like that's the idea, because you can potentially be -1 to be wounded, with a free like damage flip, and maybe some other stuff. Is there an Armor of Contempt in this detachment? No, of course not. Brutal Attrition. Heretic Astartes unit from your army, excluding Damned, selected as a target of an attack. Until the end of the phase, each time a melee attack is allocated, after the attacking unit has finished making its attacks, roll 1d6. For each 4+, you deal more wounds. So you... Oh, no, okay. No, I misinterpreted this one. This works if you have been attacked. This works when you are attacked. Okay, so this one's a little bit better than I thought. I thought you had to use it preemptively before you knew how much damage you took. But it's when you are... But it's before you go to fight. If you have been attacked already, then you get hit rerolls. So your opponent has to be careful about who they attack first, is the idea. Which could open you up to interrupts. So, like, interestingly, you can hold 2 CP. If they fight first into the unit that you want to interrupt with, you can burn one of these to hit them, and then... If they don't get blown up, you can burn one of these to get rerolls against them. Or if they attack with someone else first to not trigger this stuff, you just interrupt normally. I think that's like sort of the play pattern. That's cool. You have to hold up 2 CP though. And there's no CP regen in this detachment, so you really have to play Abaddon. Probably. That's... Gotta work through the rationale there. That's a complex trench network of rationalization. You're only -1 to wound at range? Oh, are you? Oh, yeah, you're right, chat. It is ranged attacks. Nope, you're right. Yeah, so you don't get the -1 to wound in melee. Yeah, that's a good call out. Pitiless Cannonade gives you... It's a battle tactic, so you can duplicate it. The other stuff is not... Oh, for Persistent Assailances, so that's good. You get 5+ critical hits against enemies below half strength. That's okay, I guess, but I don't know if you really need it. Point Blank Destruction gives your non-blast weapons pistol. Ooh, that's spicy. So you can especially use it on like vehicles to ignore their the -1 to hit in melee, or you have to be in engagement range, so you can't use it to shoot without penalty into vehicles that are engaged. But you can also just use it to like fire your obliterators in melee or two, right? That's pretty good. Steadfast Determination. You get a 5+ feel no pain in the shooting phase when you're selected as the target, and Siegecraft gives you +2 to charge, or -2 to charge against enemies trying to charge you. Alright. Yeah, this detachment seems like totally playable. I don't think I'm as excited about it. It feels like it's, I don't know. It feels like you're kind of jumping through hoops to get the stuff done, and there's not really any like damage pumps. Maybe you don't need them. So like maybe it's fine to just like make your tanks -1 to be wounded from guns. I think you win gunfights a lot, which is cool. Because you can just like plink a I wish there were more like shooting characters in this army, but you can like plink a combi bolter at a vehicle and then remove cover from them and then just like laser beam into them with a bunch of Forge Fiends, and that's probably fine. We'll have to see what the Pact detachment does, see if that makes them better, but I guess like giving your army lethal and sustained from Hellbrutes, removing cover from enemies, and then being -1 to wound on the crackback, and probably having a feel no pain is good enough to just like be able to fight people. Especially if you're getting like rerolls, like you're trying to do the Vindicator like Abaddon thing where you're, you know, just giving a bunch of vehicles rerolls and like blasting them away at people, and also getting all of this extra stuff to make you harder to kill on the swingback is actually pretty good. So I think that's what you do, is you do just like wade into the Iron Warriors, like a bunch of vehicles sort of build. And then when you consider that your like Vindicators and your like Forge Fiends and stuff are never wounded on better than a 4, you're actually really resilient. Unless your opponent has wound bonuses, obviously. You're actually really resilient to incoming shooting. And you can have a 5+ feel no pain when you need it. Awkwardly, not a battle tactic. But that's fine. Does pistol mean you only get one ranged weapon to attack? You can fire all of your pistols, Chet. Unless you're a vehicle. Vehicles can fire their pistols and their regular weapons. Normal units can either fire with all their pistols or all of their regular weapons. So if you turn all your weapons into pistols, you just get to shoot them all at once. Back in 9th edition, a little bit of a look back in time, there was a stratagem that Tau had to make their pulse blasters, their breacher weapons, pistols, and they also had a pistol weapon, so they got to fire all of their weapons at the same time. They basically they true grit dual wielded and just got to fire a bunch of times. And there were a couple stratagems like that turned your weapons into pistols and then like let you shoot your bolt pistols too. And so that would let you do that if you're like engaged with your, I don't know, whatever, Chosen or Legionaries or something. You get to pull out your bolter and shoot them, and then shoot them with their bolt pistol, which is kind of cool. Yeah, 3 Vindicators only wounded on 4-up is strong. Yeah. Yeah, and especially because you can 5-up feel no pain too. So you're -1 to be wounded into a 5-up feel no pain, and then being healed by the Warp Smiths. Like, you could also maybe run it on Lords of Skulls too, because Lords of Skulls getting like +1 to hit and a feel no pain is like really good. There's definitely play with the bigger stuff. I think that 5+ feel no pain strat is like the key, because you can windmill slam that on big huge targets and it's make your army's just like really, really hard to deal with. Although to be fair, Lords of Skulls are very rarely wounded on 4s anyway, because they're T13. Alpha Legion using Huron has legs. Because he gets the redeployment with infiltrators. Yeah, that's probably pretty good, actually. Yeah. Well, I'll buy that. That's probably something. Alright, let's go with Vashtor the Arcaphane over here, the Soulforged Warpack. So you get the enhanced demonic contract. You get -1 to your Dark Pact leadership check each time you attack, if you want to. It's optional, so you don't have to. If you do so, you get +1 to wound with ranged attacks and +2 attacks with melee weapons. That's fucking awesome. That's so good. It's man, this is just gonna fight with the Iron Warriors detachment. They're gonna have a knockdown drag out fight. Who's gonna win? The one that gives you +1 to wound, or the one that makes you -1 to be wounded? Realistically, it's probably the one that makes you +1 to wound. But it's funny that they're both of them are in here because they're both good with the same units. Oh, dude, fucking Lord of Skulls with +1 to wound. Are you kidding me? Yuck. Warsmiths can get +4 inches of movement. You can give demon vehicles +1 to the number of mortal wounds they take when they fail a Dark Pact, but they get hit rerolls. Oh, it's each time. It's not target. Oh God. Okay. Jesus Christ. Forge's Blessing. Heretic Astartes vehicle units within 2. These do work on Lords of Skulls, right? Am I an insane person? There's no reason that those things aren't like they're definitely demon engines, right? I'm just imagining a Lord of Skulls with +1 to hit and full hit rerolls, getting lethal, sustained, and +1 to wound next to a Hellbrute, and like firing like whatever they shoot. Fucking yeah, they're demon vehicles. That's what it takes, right? Demon vehicle. Demon vehicle. Does not say excluding Titanic. So they're shooting. They're towering and firing. What? 2d6 plus d6 plus 3 damage attacks with +1 to hit and wound, lethal, sustain, full hit rerolls. Okay. And +1 to wound. Just don't be in line of sight, I guess. Just hide. You have to hide. They'll kill you. He'll be dead. He'll kill anything. Or you just I guess you could just do it on a Forge Fiend, but they don't get wound rerolls. Unless the stratagems give them to them, and then it's scary. Forge's Blessing. Command phase selects 1 Heretic Astartes vehicle within 12. It gets a 6/6 feel no pain. Just good. Soul Harvester. While bears on the battlefield, each time an enemy unit within 12 is destroyed on 5, you gain CP. Yeah, whatever. That was not very good. Alright, so let's look at some battle tactics. Demon Vehicles. Armor of Contempt for Demon Vehicles. Oh, is that right? No. I'm sorry. I always get them confused. It's +1 AP. Till the end of the phase, if you invoke a contract, each time it makes an attack, +1 armor penetration characteristic. Okay. It's not -1 AP. It's +1 AP. So all of that things we were just saying, also at +1 AP. Let's go. Glut of Souls. Demon Vehicle, excluding Titanic. When you invoke your contract, each time you make an attack that destroys an enemy model, you can regain wounds up to a maximum of 6. Okay. Great on Forge Fiends. Very good on Forge Fiends. Because I think that's the same timing window as Hazardous, right? So if you fire into like 20 Orc Boys with the triple blast Forge Friend, and then after a unit has resolved its attack, you take 1 hazardous just for each hazardous weapon that was just used by rolling a d6. Yeah, so it's the same timing window, so you can just take the hazardous test. You can just roll to regenerate after you take the hazardous, and if you take damage from either the pact, the contract, or the hazardous, then you just heal it. Solid. That definitely stops them. I don't know if it's worth the CP, to be fair, but maybe you have extras. But it stops them from burning themselves out quite as quickly. Demonic Possession, the Heretic Astartes vehicle gains the demon keyword for a CP. That's good. We can do it on Vindicators. Unstoppable Rampage. Lets you move through horizontal terrain features. Really strong. Also not keyed to demons. Works on any vehicle. Okay. They have a fucking reactive move. Does everything have a reactive move? It's only vehicles, not demon keyworded. And then Feeding Frenzy. When a unit is selected to fall back, excluding monsters or vehicles, they must take a desperate escape, and if they're battle shocked, they get -1 from the desperate escape check. Okay. That's fine. But it doesn't prevent them from falling back. They just take a desperate escape check. That's not very good, but maybe you'll kill somebody with it. It will be funny because they'll be like, all right, my character's going to run away. And you're like, pay a CP for 33% or you just die. Let's go. As long as that character is not a monster vehicle. All right. So I assume that the Chaos Cult does not have a reactive move. And this one also doesn't have a reactive move. But the Soulforged Warpack does. I guess this one doesn't. This one does if you fall back from them. This one doesn't, but the other one does. Relentless, the Deceptors does. And the Veterans of the Long War does. So over half of their detachments have reactive moves in them. That's really strong. Okay. I guess this one moves closer, so it's... It's good at stealing objectives. But the other thing you can do is you can use it to, like, move Titans around, right? You can, like, put OC8 on people's objectives while they're moving. Be like, no. I will take that from you. You may not have that. Yeah, that feels like... That feels like you just windmill slam Lords of Skulls and then dump every buff on them and make them insane. That seems like an extremely strong detachment, chat. That one and the opportunistic raiders ones feel like the real standouts to me. Being able to move through walls with big stuff is huge. Oh, the glut is fight only? Oh shit. Oh, you're right, chat. Yeah, no, that stratagem's not very good. Just kidding. Yeah, good call out. That's, yeah, just kidding. Probably not using that stratagem. Yeah. Chaos Missions aren't meant to be tricky. It is kind of weird, right? You want them to be like sledgehammers. You want trickiness to be like demons, but... I don't know. I guess, like... They have a lot of sort of a sub-theme of like hit and run attacks. Because it's where, I don't know, it's like Night Lord's thing, right? So, and Alpha Legion both want to do that same kind of like really skirmishy combat. So I guess it makes sense. All right, the Chaos Cult. Can we make cultists good? This one gives you +2 to move and +2 to charge with your damned units. Each time you make a desperate pact, you take a leadership chance. If it's failed, you take D3 mortal wounds. So you can basically, you can dark pact in the movement phase in addition to doing it when you attack. Traitor Guardsmen get the battle line keyword. Dark Apostle and Damned models get reroll advance and charge rolls for the Bearers unit. The Amulet of Tainted Vigor. Dark Apostles can return D3 destroyed damned models to the Bearers unit. But it's Dark Apostles only. Excluding character models. So does that mean it doesn't work on their little friends, their little guys? Are those guys damned? Or are they characters? Where's their data sheet? What are their little guys called? Like Dark Disciples? I'm so glad that Dark Apostles are in the game, because I remember for the longest time they were always talked about, but they're never actually represented. They are not characters, but they are also Dark Disciples. Yeah, they're not characters, but they're also not damned models, so they can't be regenerated. That's unfortunate. You can't use them to do mortal wounds and then respawn them. That would be kind of cool. I don't know. I guess that's where the stupid Accursed Cultist regeneration went, even though you can't put it on Accursed Cultists. So, okay. Incendiary Goad. Dark Apostle damaged models. While your unit is below starting strength, add 1 to the strength characteristic of melee weapons equipped by damaged models in the unit. While it is below half strength, add 1 to the attacks characteristic as well. And you are likely to be below starting strength because you're going to Desperate Pact like immediately. So this is pretty good with Accursed Cultists, right? Because you get advance and charge, +1 to hit and wound, and +2 to the advance and the charge roll. So your threat range with like Dark Commune and Accursed Cultist units is actually nuts. If you go first, you're just in their deployment zone, right? Because you scout 6 inches, advance d6 +8, charge 2d6 +2. So you're going 12, 16, 3d6 +16 inches. So to get to your opponent's deployment line, it's like a 3d6 5 or 3d6 6, I guess. Is that right? No, 3d6 8. Excuse me. You can also give Dark Apostle units 6-inch scout, but it only Dark Apostle or damned units. Oh, the Dark Commune doesn't have scout. Did they forget? So if you attach a Dark Commune to an Accursed Cultist unit, it just gets worse. I guess that's what that's for, so you have to take this on them. Oh. Well, that makes me less excited for this attachment. Why? GW! Why? Have you forgotten that Scout turns off when you attach characters to the unit? Why are you like this? Oh, I guess they can attach to Cultists too. That's cool. I actually didn't realize that. Could they always do that? Is that new? Did just no one ever do that because it was stupid? Yeah, no, they could always attach to cultists. That's not good, right? You get +1 to hit and wound with your pistols, so that's fun. That's something, I guess. Yeah, I don't. It's just I don't think you just ever do that, really. To be fair, but at least you can make them scout with the unit of Curse Cultists. It's a little silly. Yeah. Bizarre. This has been a roller coaster ride of emotions so far. Bear's unit is below its starting strength. Okay. Chat. This enhancement is really good. Because Dark Apostles can make themselves be below starting strength. And you can put them into chosen units. So I think you take one Dark Apostle with this. You take the Dark Commune with this. And then maybe you take any of these. I don't know. Who cares? Oh, no. Shit. It only affects damaged models. Fuck. Nope. Just kidding. And you can't attach Dark Apostles to Accursed Cultists, right? That's not in there. Have I lost the Dark Apostle data sheet? We're just gonna open up a new tab. Give me Dark Apostles, please. Oh, they can't attach to Accursed Cultists. Oh, okay. Okay, this is fine. So you can get +1 strength and +1 to wound on a Accursed Cultist squad. Because the Dark Apostle can always kill their own Dark Disciple model. Even if you have passed all of your Desperate Pact checks, you can always choose to destroy one of your own models in your unit. So this enhancement will always trigger for +1 strength. Where did the... Accursed boys go. Jesus Christ. Why are they not with the other cultists? This Codex chant, I swear. Have I totally missed them? Where did their datasheet go? God, I hate datasheets. For G-Dub, just never publish a Codex again. Only ever publish a PDF that's searchable. So they go to strength 5 and 6 with +1 to wound. Is that something? We'll have to see what the stratagems are. I don't know. So it feels like we can make something work. I guess you lose the advance and charge of the Dark Apostle in the unit, but they sort of hit a little harder. Ugh. If you could use that on actual Space Marines, I'd feel much better about it, but it's like so awkwardly not very good. Shooting or fight phase, damned units can make a Desperate Pact. If you do, you get reroll hit rolls. If you did not fail the leadership test, you get reroll wound rolls as well. Okay, so you're incentivized to put Dark Apostles into the units to get a 5+ leadership characteristic. That's really good. Like really solid chance to get full hit and wound rerolls. That's like old Profane Zeal energy right there. Selfless Demise. Damned unit from your army is selected as the target. You can reflect mortal wounds on a 6. That stratagem's always bad every time they print it. Infernal Sacrifice. A damned unit from your army in the fight phase can make a Desperate Pact. If it does, your unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. Oh, so you have another way to deal mortal wounds to yourself. In addition to any suffered for failing their test, but you get +1 to the attack's characteristic of melee weapons. If you did not fail the leadership test, you get +1 strength as well. Huh. Crazed Focus. You get +1 AP in the shooting phase, and +1 strength if you don't fail your Desperate Pact. Who cares? That sucks. It's just damned, right? Yeah. Damned units are bad at shooting. Why are we shooting with them? We took away all their special guns. Why are we shooting with the cultists? Reckless Hate, give you advancing charge. Sick. All right, solid. I'm in. Sold. Windmill Slam. Mortal Thralls. Opponent's shooting phase after an M unit is selected as targets. When Heretic Astartes unit from your army is selected as the target of one or more advanced units attacks, and one friendly damned unit within 3 inches visible to both your unit and the attacking unit. Until the end of the phase, while your damned unit is on the battlefield, each time your opponent would make a wound roll for the attack that targets your Heretic Astartes unit. If the damned unit is visible to the attacking model and is an eligible target for the attack, no roll is made. Your damned unit suffers a number of wounds equal to the mortal wounds equal to the damage characteristic of the attack. So you put a cultist unit in front of you, and every time they shoot the unit behind it, which is declared reactively, so you don't have to use it at the start of the phase or anything, it just automatically dumps mortals onto the... Every time they hit your unit, it automatically dumps mortal wounds onto the cultist unit. Oh, that's probably good. You can use it on any Heretic Astartes unit, so it works on vehicles and stuff. I think you just use it to save and get, like, to just burn down like a Traitor Guardsman squad in a situation where you would get your like Accursed Cultist blown up. It's also a little bit awkwardly, like, you can overspill the unit here, but the damage just carries over. So, like, if you're shooting a bunch of 2 damage weapons at the Accursed Cultists, like, you have a 2 damage blast attack, which is good at killing Accursed Cultists because it gets around their Feel No Pain. Each one of those successful hits against the Cultists then kills 2 Guardsmen or whatever in the unit that you're mortal thralling into. So they only have to hit 5 times to kill that unit, and then everything else just gets dumped on your guys. Yeah, I don't know. The stratagem, it seems good. There's going to be situations in which this wins you the game, but it's it's very narrow use case. I like this detachment. It feels like you have to jump through hoops to get the same amount of work out of it as you would just any of the other detachments. It is extremely fast. +2 to advance and charge on a bunch of units that are like scouting and it can advance and charge is really good, especially when you're getting like charge and advance rerolls. I think it's mostly a meme though. I like it. I think it's a cool meme, and I think it's like fun for interesting list builds. And I think that's a cool place for the detachment to live, right? Where you're like, hey, if you can win with this, you just have to probably play very well, maybe get a little lucky, and like play some off the wall garbage. It's like definitely, I don't think it's gonna be meta, but I definitely think it's like some people are gonna get surprised by it. You're going to like scout a unit forward, blood surge unit forward, and then move like 20 inches and just like eat their backline with the Curse Cultists with like 1 billion additional like hit and wound buffs on them. And then they're going to be like, please, no, stop. I hate this. This sucks. I don't know. I think it's super fun. I think it's a fun detachment. Craze Focus might be for Trader Guardsmen specifically. Oh yeah, that's true. They are damned. Yeah, we looked at that earlier. But do they have good guns? Where the Trader Guardsmen at? They get up to 3 Flamer Melta Plasma, or I guess you could do Grenade Launcher Melta Plasma, but they're still just like Ballistic Skill 4 idiots. So like they have okay guns, I guess. I don't know if you want to be spending CP to buff those attacks though. And it's not up to 3 per 10. Oh no, you can't even take 20. You just get a unit of 10. I think that was supposed to be used on like huge bricks of 20 cultists, but then they took away all of their good guns, so you're shooting auto pistols. So like, who cares? Sweet. Wait until people start winning GTs in the Chaos Cult attachment. Yeah, I mean, more power to them. Go get them. Like, there's like, unironically, like there's strong stuff there. It just feels like, you're running a bunch of like light infantry. You know what I mean? It's just gonna blow up, and it's really fast, but like it's screenable, and you have to like jump through all these hoops to get the damage out of it. You have to take the Desperate Pact. You have to have the character with the enhancement. You have to like do the thing. Like, I guess hit and wound rerolls and +1 to wound and +1 strength is a lot, right? If you wombo combo it out, so you can be you can also get potentially give them +1 attack too, right? So you could be you net the full combo is you go +1 strength from the Incendiary Goad, hit and wound rerolls from Chosen for Glory, +1 attack and strength from Infernal Sacrifice. So if you burn 2 CP, you're attacking with Accursed Cultists who are strength 6, +1 to wound, AP 0, but 3 attacks base, with hit and wound rerolls, like either lethal or probably sustained hits. And then the torments there's 6 of them, right? So it's 6d6 plus 12, or 6d6 plus 18, strength 7, AP 1, 2 damage with +1 to wound, full rerolls. So like they'll kill like basically whatever. Let's do a math hammer. If we are maxed out on the cultists, we said 6d6 plus 18, and to be realistically, you have probably lost some models to your Desperate Pacts. And this is also 3 CP we're dumping into this unit too. You're hitting on 4s, which is a little bit awkward. Your strength 7, AP 1, 2 damage. 2 damage. Let's just assume that you haven't lost any guys, just for the ease of use here. 3 attacks each times 10 mutants, so 30 attacks. On 4s, strength 6, AP 0, 1 damage. We're rerolling hits and wounds, and I'm gonna give them +1 to hit because they're gonna get sustained. Although it's a little bit better than that. And we're up against a knight. You do 22 damage, plus the dark. Plus you can plank for mortals, and you can swing with the Dark Disciple, who's also getting all those buffs. So the Dark Apostle. So you're probably somewhere in the realm of like 25 to 30 damage out of this unit against a 3+ save. If you go to a 2+ save, it gets a lot worse. But the Dark Apostle hits way harder in that situation. So for 3 CP. And an enhancement and a bunch of buffs. This should be strength 6. Still winning on 6s though. And in this situation, you might go lethals instead of sustains. But either way, 3 CP and a bunch of buffs, and you could probably kill almost anything in the game with an Accursed Cultist squad with a bunch of stuff on it. Is that good? I don't know. You can probably get there because you're fast and advanced in charge with a bunch of bonuses. You probably lose a bunch of models going in, which is probably okay for you. But it costs you 1 trillion command points. And then, like, you only get one of those. And then you're either out of command points or out of Dark Apostles. But the other Accursed Cultists can get, like, +1 to hit and wound off of the Dark Commune, so maybe it's okay. You're probably, like, windmill slamming 3 of these dudes, and then... Yeah, I think it's just, like, the 3 Accursed Cultist units show, probably, right? And the rest is kind of just whatever. You get the Beastmen. The Beastmen can do some stuff. They're strength 4 melee attacks at least. Where are they at? But there's only 10 of them. And they can't attach characters, so they're actually not that good. And I mean, I guess you can follow up with the other, like, more combat-oriented Chaos Space Marine units. You just don't get any buffs for them. But they're probably still fine. And, like, guns and stuff. So, I don't know. It seems perfectly playable. Depends on points, too. Yeah, for sure. All right. Let's go. Let's do the last one. Feel sorry for town and Custodies players. Yeah, it definitely feels like the number of detachments you get is directly proportional to how creative the developers are feeling at the time. Because they're like, guys, we can do check out this cool Chaos Cultist detachment I wrote. And I'm like, oh, sick, let's print it. But they're like, what do we do with Tau? And you're like, I don't know. An early game detachment and a late game detachment. And like, all right, good enough. And then maybe one for Crew. Like, okay, cool. They didn't even have like an auxiliaries detachment where they get benefits for being near auxiliaries. Like, what? Why didn't we do that? Why didn't we do, like, was it like Sasea Sept or whatever? Is the one where they get the benefits when they're near other auxiliary units? I don't know why they didn't do that. All right. So the Pactbound Zealots is the new Slaves to Darkness. Each time, so you select the keyword when you build your list. Each time you gain a weapon ability as a result of a Dark Pact, and do not fail the leadership test. So you have to pass your leadership test, which you almost certainly will do because it's like a leadership 5 with a reroll or whatever. Is that still what Chaos Icons do, by the way, chat? Yeah, reroll tests. So probably a 6 with a reroll, which is very likely. Then you get 5+ criticals with Khorne in melee, 5+ criticals with Tzeentch at range, or 5+ lethals, I should say, for Khorne and Tzeentch. 5+ sustains for Nurgle and Slash. So, weird thing about these abilities is that I feel like they are reversed from what you would expect, because if you look at the other varieties of these of like the god effect in other factions, I think that they're opposite, right? Nurgle is almost always lethal hits. And Slaanesh is very often lethal hits. Tzeentch is all about... Like, Tzeentch and Corner are all typically about sustained hits. Because both of that, like, Tzeentch units, or Tzeentch demons get sustained hits, like, from the Bolt of Change. And Khorne gets sustained... Or World Eaters get sustained hits. From their Blessings of Khorne. It's weird that they've like chosen to make those decisions that they have. Nurgle is like lethal hits all the time. Like every Death Guard unit has lethal hits. Every Nurgle demon has lethal hits. It's bizarre that Nurgle is the sustained hits guy. I don't really understand. It's just like it feels like such a flavor fail. It doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. It's just like, especially the Nurgle one where you're like, Nurgle is lethal hits, dude. But he gets sustained in Chaos Space Marines, I guess. That's weird. It's just very strange. I don't like that. That makes me... It's like a weird gear check that makes me sad. All right. They can take the Talisman of Burning Blood. It's like Khorne. So these are each themed to one type of... one allegiance. Khorne gets +1 attacks and strength. If you do not fail a leadership check with a Dark Pact, you get D3 attacks and strength instead. Very solid. Eye of Tzeentch gives you 1 CP on a leadership test of 8 up. Orb, that used to just be successful leadership chest, right? That was like really, really consistent. You used to put it on Warpsmiths. Where did their enhancements go? They're gone. What have I done? Yeah, it just used to be if you passed the test. Now it requires an 8 or higher, which is a little unlikely. Although you do get rerolls if you're inside of a unit with an icon. Orbs of Unlife, Nurgle. There also used to be the Liber Hereticus was in this attachment. Now that's gone. That used to give you lethal and sustains instead of just one if you were undivided. And that's disappeared. Orbs of Unlife. End of the fight phase, you get +1 to a d6 roll for each enemy unit within 3 inches of the bearer if you made the Dark Pact check. If you didn't make the Dark Pact check, it's just the flat d6. On a 4+, you take d3 mortal wounds. And then Intoxicating Elixir, that 3 inches is tough. Oh, it used to be 6. Wow, these all got nerfed. Jesus Christ. Okay. Get wrecked, I guess. Intoxicating Elixir gives you 5+ Feel No Pain. If you pass a Dark Pact check, then you can force a Battle Shock check on an enemy. Yeah, so basically all of these are slightly worse versions of the ones in the index. Eye of the Gods grants you... Was this a thing in the old detachment? I don't remember if it was. I don't think it was. I think they lost their Armor of Contempt. They did lose their Armor of Contempt. Okay. So Eye of the Gods is a new stratagem. After a character from your army, excluding Demon, Damned, and Epic Hero, destroys an enemy unit, one Astartes character model in your unit adds +1 move, toughness, wounds, and strength attacks and damage to their melee weapons. After the character destroys an enemy unit. That's really cool. I want to use that on Demon Princes and make them stronger. And there's no restriction on once per game too. So if you just beat up 2 enemy units, you can be +2 move, toughness, wounds, attack, strength, damage. You can have like a Khorne Demon Prince be swinging at like strength 14 for 5 damage. That's fun. I'm into that. I want to play Demon Prince spam just for that now. Eternal Hate. Turn enemy unit has selected its targets. When a Heretic Astartes unit from your army is selected as a target of 1 or more attacks until the end of the phase. Each time a model in the unit is destroyed. If it did not fight this phase, you get to fight. Yeah, that's the fight on death that Khorne have. Profane Zeal gets you wound rerolls if you are undivided. It is back to shooting or fight phase. Yeah, Yeah, no, that's what it has been, actually. So they basically just changed the Profane Zeal in the last data slate update to what it was going to be in the Codex, which is funny. So still just as good as it was. Doesn't give you the hit rerolls, but you're getting reroll ones anyway from being an undivided unit. Skin Shift lets you regenerate guys, and you get extra stuff if you're Zinch. Topifying Refrain. You can fall back and charge. If you're Slanesh, you can advance and charge. Festering Miasma. After an enemy unit has selected its targets, one of your units gains stealth. If it's Nurgle, it can only be selected as a target for range attack if the attacking model is within 18 inches. Yeah, so it is the slightly less silly version of Dark Obscuration. Yeah, so it's the same as the current one. Just as good as I think it was. The lone operative was very silly, the 12 inches, but 18 inches is fine. Like you can play around it, but it's still very strong at winning gunfights. So this detachment got slightly worse. Losing Armor of Contempt hurts, and they have one battle tactic, and that's it. But it's a good battle tactic, and it's on your big chosen beatstick bricks, so that's solid. And then if your characters kill people with the Profane Zeal, if your Chaos Lords kill people, they basically just get their once per game back with a bonus if they pay a CP for Eye of the Gods, if the character model destroyed something. So you have to like sequence your attacks interestingly, and it's actually it's a slight bonus to chosen, like the big chosen bricks, that they have so many different melee weapons, because you can like edge your opponent to like right where they would be killed, and then hit them with the Damien Hammer to unlock the bonus for the Chaos Lord, which is like kind of cool. That's actually sweet. And that's all the detachments, chat. Yeah, I think Pactbound Zealots definitely is worse, especially if you're not carrying a Chaos Icon around. You don't have that reroll, so you could lose out on your 5+ criticals. So it's not quite as automatic as it was previously, where you would just like windmill slam the 5+ critical hits on all your vehicles and stuff. But it still feels pretty strong, especially since some of your other units get buffed. And then I think, as I said, I think the kind of the tier list, I think then is probably starts at Opportunistic Raiders. I'm gonna be honest, I think that one's kind of silly, or Renegade Raiders, excuse me. This one's maybe a half step down from the Soulforged Warpack, and then I think the Pact is sort of in the middle. The Iron Warriors one, Fellhammer Siege-Host is cool. That one's probably a little bit under there just for survivability. Maybe somewhere next to the Chaos Cultist one, where you do infinite damage. And then the Veterans of the Long War feels like on the weaker side. And then the Battle Shock one matters. Seems like it's trash. But we'll see how things end out. This is a super exciting codex, actually. If I was a Chaos Space Marine player, I'd be really happy with this codex. There's a lot of really cool stuff to play with here. Eye of the Gods excludes Damned, Demon, and Epic Hero. Oh, it excludes demons. Oh, shit. Yeah, you're right, chat. So it's basically just the Hammer Lord guy. Oh yeah, I missed it. It was demon. That's too bad. You can't windmill slam it on fucking demon princes. Good call out. Yeah, that's fair. So it's basically just going to be on the Foot Chaos Lord dude, almost assuredly. Can't wait to pass every battle check against Night Lords. Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna play against like Chaos Demons and be like, take a bunch of Battle Shock checks and you heal them. Like, you do damage and you're like, all right, Battle Shock check, like Raptor Battle Shock check. My character hit you with the enhancements or a Battle Shock check, and then your command phase Battle Shock check for being below starting. And you're like, all right, well, I'm +1 leadership for Shadow, reroll for Bellicor, and you just pass them all and heal back to full. Thanks. Thanks, Night Lords player. Thanks for not playing fucking the Raider detachment where your guys get +1 AP. Hadn't expected much, wasn't disappointed. Yeah, honestly, just play the stupid... Just play the... I keep calling it Opportunistic Raiders, but that's not what it's called. It's called Renegade Raiders. Keep playing Renegade Raiders. Like, you just get advance and charge. and like a bunch of bonuses for fighting, like hitting on objectives and stuff. Like, this detachment rules. You want to play a bunch of Raptors? Go for it, dude. You want to play Raptors and Warp Talons? This feels like a detachment for you. You could also just play the regular Pact detachment, the new Slaves to Darkness. I don't know. It feels like there's other ways to play that game plan without like going with the weird Battle Shock thing. That feels like kind of a huge miss. I think you need to do the Tyrannid thing where you have ways to like proactively force Battle Shock checks out of phase, and you get huge bonuses when you do it. I think that's the way to make a Battle Shock Matters, like, faction work. You have to have a bunch of stuff that's like, take a Battle Shock check. Here's penalties in your Battle Shock check. Everybody gets +1 to hit, or wound rerolls or something against Battle Shock units. Like, that's what you want. You don't want to do this, like, oh, end of fight phase, force a Battle Shock check. Like, who gives a shit about that? The only loser detachment being for Dread Talons? Oh yeah, I forgot about Deceptors. Just so many fucking detachments, chat, yeah. The Deceptors seem sweet, yeah. Lots of board control, which is cool. Is Renegade Raider a Fortnite skin? That's the 40k Fortnite integration that we wanted. He's just like he's a red Corsair with a bunch of skulls, a bunch of human skulls dangling off of him. Can you use Chaos Knight in the Vashtor detachment? Yeah, so all Chaos factions can take up to 1 Chaos Knight if it's the big Despoiler class or the Tyrant class, or up to 3 War Dog classes. I don't think I would, because you can include them in your army, but they are not Heretic Astartes vehicles, so they don't get any of these abilities, and they don't have Dark Pacts. So they have literally no synergy with the rest of your army. So they're not really giving you anything that regular, like, Chaos Space Marines need, realistically. So you could, like, for theme if you wanted to, but I wouldn't. I don't think I would do it. Hope the Drukhari guys get creative. Yeah, for sure. I know there was a discussion recently about like how these codexes get constructed, and they said I don't have any like sort of evidence for this. This was just based on an interview that I was listening to. They said that there are several team members that write the codexes, and each one of them sort of drafts the full codex independently. So I think like how interesting the codex is depends entirely on which designer it gets assigned to, which is a little sad. Because definitely like that Custodes codex, man. Oh boy, we were talking about it yesterday. I think there's like a vehicle-focused Talons list that's pretty good, but I don't like it's definitely not to this level, and it's like not even close to Tau. So like I don't know. Why take a knight when you can take a Lord of Skulls? Yeah. Get that Lord of Skulls +1 to wound and full hit and wound rerolls and lethal and sustains and +1 to hit and a 6-up feel no pain. Just windmill slam every buff on it. And a reactive move just moves at you, steals objectives. This is going to win a GT finals sometime in the not too distant future. Somebody's going to be like, all right, I'll just move up to move block you. And you're like, all right, I'll take the objective. And you're just like, oh shit. Yep, well. We did that. I'm going to forget about this stratagem at least once in my lifetime. For sure. Orc and CSM designers putting every other designer to shame. Yeah. Yep. It feels good, man, for these factions, for sure. And Lords of Skulls can move through buildings. Although they're only moving 8, right? So they actually still sort of struggle, I think. Like they can clip their corners through buildings with the strat, but I think they're still gonna have a little bit of trouble. I think they want that you to use that on like Mauler Fiends and the like aggressive melee stuff, but Defiler's doing it. It's gonna be a big deal. I guess they also move 8 inches. At least Defilers like are really wiggly, so they probably straddle walls a lot with their like weird legs. Yeah, only movement 8 on these guys. They are physically longer than they are than they can move, basically. I think is the size comparison. Signing up for a prod with triple Lord of Sales right now. Well, these aren't legal until they're in Munitorm Field Manual, chat. Don't remember. Don't forget. Although, yeah, everybody get ready for the triple Lord of Skulls, like Vashtor, Windmill Slam. Only nerfs to the units? Did you read Warp Talons, my guy? Jesus Christ. Oh, the Beastmen lost Scout. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. You're not going to be scouting with them anyway. The Beastmen are going to start in reserve and then get tactical objectives on the first turn. Or they're going to, like, rapid ingress in, like, funny places. You get to, like, Beastman jail people. It's, like, really bad wolf jail. Forge Fiends lost the Nurgle strat. Did they? Where did they lose it? Right? Heretic Astartes units get assigned a keyword. And then, if they're targeted by an attack, can use this thing to not be shot. What stops them from being targeted, if I'm missing something? Yeah, it got hit in the datasheet department, but the detachments feel so good that I think they make up for it, right? Like, it doesn't feel to me like it was a strict downgrade on their datasheets because they're gaining so many additional tools. Like, it's at absolute worst a side grade, but I think it's actually a slight upgrade. And right now they're like, you know, whatever, average to above average. So I think they're gonna edge up into a solidly good tier. And if the points are right, or if the points are nice for the Soulforged Warpack, like, that thing could just kill people. The amount of damage that those vehicles do is nuts. Play Forge Fiends with Marco Nurgle and Pack, but yeah, I don't understand this line of thinking where Forge Fiends are worse. They're literally identical to the pre-Codex version. They're not as good as with the, like, they don't have the 12-inch no shooting, but they still have the 18-inch that they had post update, which was good. The 12 inches was very silly. Next codexes are Gene Stealer Sisters of Battle, still unknown. Summer's gonna get spicy. Yeah. Gene Stealers, I'm excited for Gene Stealers, because that faction feels like they didn't really know what to do with it, with the index. And I'm hoping that things come back around and they figure it out. Theoretically, cross my fingers. Well, hopefully they figure out what's up. Where was that? Where was what? Where's the Nurgle strat? It's right here. It's in the Pactbound Zealot detachment. They just renamed it. It's not called Dark Obscuration anymore. It's called Festering Miasma. Dark Obscuration felt a little Bellicory. I understand why they would rename it. It doesn't feel like a Nurgle strat. Dark Obscuration feels like what Bellicor does with his aura. Yeah, the 12 to 18. It's probably still in the Munitorum field manual. Let's take a look. So we'll take a peek. Or not the field manual, the data slate update. I think it was the January data slate, but it might have been earlier. Yeah, so yeah, I believe it was the January data slate, but it might have been the previous one. It might have been the October or September. I bet sisters get worse and player base cries. Yeah, good riddance. That army is really annoying right now. It's okay. I appreciate that they're not quite as silly as they were before, when they were just wombo combo out like 22 automatic damage for multi-meltas. But it is, they are still strong and they are frustrating to play against. Yeah. All right, chats. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and close things out there. Having talked about the Codex, I think this Codex rules. I'm going to say it. I think this Codex is really good, and I think it's really cool, and I'm excited for Chaos Space Marine players. I hope that things aren't like super point-and-click adventure gamey like they have been for Chaos Space Marines in the past, but it feels like they're pretty well-rounded, to be honest. All right, chats. Well, thanks everyone for hanging out with me and reading through the Codex with me. This is super fun. It was nice to get a little bit of a preview. Thanks everybody who dropped the super chats, by the way, as well. We are going to be live over on the Purple channel over on Twitch. It's going to be late. The game is currently scheduled for 9 Pacific time, which is midnight for me. So it might be a sleepy game, but that's going to be about 11 hours from now over on Twitch. So come hang out with me for that one. And I'm going to see if I can get some sleep before my tournament tomorrow. And then otherwise, we'll be back with regularly scheduled content next week. So cheers, everyone. Keep it classy, folks. Have happy wargaming, and I will see you in the next one.